Red Bull GRCs are now available on iRacing. I personally put my blood, sweat, and tears into this thing, developing the cars, the tracks, the dirt, making sure it is authentic as possible, and I really think you guys are going to love it. The best part is that this 600 horsepower Volkswagen Beetle is free to all members. So get signed up now and come race me online.
Hello and welcome to Friday Night Dirt Night in 2018 here on RaceSpot TV and iRacingLive. Randy Chenowth, Cam Walsh, Eagle Louie bringing you all the action across our 3 series and 3 races tonight. And boy, oh boy, do we have a good night of racing action coming at you once again. The Global Rallycross cars, we will come back to Daytona running the short circuit, and then we will go, and just after this first race, we will go to Williams Grove for the World of Outlaw Craftsman Late Model Series, followed by the World of Outlaw Craftsman Sprint cars, also at the Grove in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. But we got to start it out with the Rallycross cars. Big announcement from Global Rallycross earlier this week. They announced their 2018 schedule, so be sure to check them out if you want to go and watch some of these cars run in the real world. A couple interesting tracks on there, a couple yet to be announced things, most notably a certain race is just labeled as Europe. And unless they're doing a Rallycross race that spans an entire continent, I doubt that that's the final schedule just yet. Qualifying currently underway here for round number 4. Let's actually have a quick look at our point standings as they currently come in. Mitchell de Jong, he's been pretty much flawless in these Friday broadcasted races, as well as basically all the other races he's been doing. The way the Rallycross format works, for those who are unaware, every hour or so you will get an official race that you can partake in. It's not just these races on Friday nights. They happen 7 days a week around the clock on the iRacing service. Mitchell did pretty much perfect. He has 603 points accumulated through 4 weeks. Sindre Setsas in second with 516, Logan Clampett third, 484, Graham Quinn fourth, and Evan Millard in fifth with 469. So qualifying currently underway right now. And Cam, we've gotten a little bit used to this. Mitchell de Jong, he currently leads by about a 1/10.5.
Well, hello everybody. I'm surprised you used the words pretty much perfect. No, Mitchell de Jong has been nothing but perfect. He has won every single heat he has been in, and he has won every single race he has been in here on the iRacing service, on these Dirt Night broadcasts, I should say. But either way, yeah, the qualifying time's coming in. It's not a surprise, but I will say a lot of drivers getting very close to the marks he's putting down.
Yeah, the lap times are starting to get closer and closer, and the competitiveness of this field up and down is getting a lot more competitive for sure. One thing that if you want to keep an eye on, Mr. Mitchell de Jong, he's actually streaming right now on Twitch. Do a search for de Jong 24. He should come up, and you'll see what it's like for him running in the top split, riding on board. Be sure to keep us open for the live commentary. Right now, Nathan Lyon currently third on the grid. He is finishing up a qualifying lap. He works himself through the final corner, and let's see if that number 7 machine, he can improve himself on the time sleeps, comes under the timing beam, and no, he will not improve. And that is actually going to be the final driver to have to do any laps. So we're going to set our grid for heat race number 1. Mitchell de Jong takes the pole at 33.696. Nathan Lyon will roll off second. Jake Hewlett will roll third. Philip Diaz in fourth. Michael Guest in fifth. Garrett Lowe sixth. And Pablo Arjura Castro will roll off seventh. Just like always, it'll be the same formula. 5 laps, 1 joker lap is required. Top 4, they advance to the final. Very physical form of motorsport. Second time we're going to see this starting grid here this season. The first sort of repeat we get, but the Daytona short layout is slightly different. There is a bit of a shortcut, and the infield section of the track feels a little bit different behind the car, specifically that first chicane and the segment that goes up and after the jump. Just waiting for a couple of drivers to get themselves set on this starting grid, and then we will be going and getting the motorsports event started tonight here on Friday night, Dirt Night. Thank you as always for tuning in. I've massively enjoyed putting on these broadcasts for you to end our week. That said, looks to me like we have everyone on the grid, everyone putting the cars in gears. The lights will come on. And they are away. 7 cars now, all running off down into the first corner, technically the final corner. But first corner here from where the starting box is. Mitchell has a good start, but he gets tapped from making the line behind. And he might lose the lead early here. They're 3 wide going into chicane. Jake Hewlett on the outside wisely backs out of it. Mitchell DeJong, he also gives up the lead for a moment as well. Up and over the jump for the first time. Mitchell tries to slot himself down through the inside, but not quite able to get there. An aggressive move from Nathan to take the lead here, Cam.
Yeah, great starting right here. A little bit of hassling here. These are all basically VW bugs up front. Mitchell DeJong, a little bit of trouble. He's finding himself early. This is not going to be, I think this might be the first lap that he is not going to be leading, as he'll go way to the outside. That is going to not be your Joker, whereas your leader as well as Hewlett and Diaz will take the Joker. So DeJong now down to 4th, but that means he's got the Joker on later. Now watch how much air these VW bugs get. That is just sensational.
Ford Fiesta's getting good air as well, and this was actually a bit of a disaster for Mitchell DeJong. He was hoping to have a bit of clear track in front of him, but he's not going to get it whatsoever. He's stuck behind Phil Diaz, and that is going to be a little bit of a heartbreak for him. Let's see if he Jokers right here, right now, to get that index driver out of his way, and indeed he will. Mitchell going to opt for the Joker this time through. Will it be enough to hop the number 7 of Nathan Lyon as he shortcuts the circuit? No. He will slot himself back into that second spot as they work through the chicane and up and over the jump for the second time. So Mitchell DeJong, first time tonight, Cam, we've not seen him leading heat race. Can he find somehow, some way to get around Nathan?
Furiously on the iRacing browser searching drivers for Nathan Lyon. I gotta say, I'm not familiar with him. He is not even in the top 25 as far as points go. And here he is pulling away from Mitchell DeJong, who has won your features. Here he goes, just covering the inside line. DeJong should have a much better exit here. No, he does not actually. Perhaps he's carrying damage. He did manage to get a little bit of a bump at the front and the back. So either way, he doesn't have to worry about it too much now. Maybe we're overdoing it just a little bit, because this is obviously heat number 1. Obviously got another heat after this. Top 4 are going, so that would be 3 VWs and 1 Ford. And honestly, that battle that's going on for 5th position right now, or 6th position, I guess I should say, not really for that final position, but still pretty exciting.
I believe we've seen most of our drivers already Joker in this one. Michael Guest is a notable name who has not. He currently runs in the 6th spot, and as I say that, he's going to Joker right now. Can he get anywhere near Phil Diaz? No, he will not. He's still going to be about 10, 15 car lengths back. So as long as Phil is picture perfect, he shouldn't have any issues. White flag in the air on this final lap as Nathan Lyon is going to try to keep that Coanda Volkswagen behind him. Actually, both of those Coanda Volkswagens behind them through this right-hander that shortcuts the circuit. That's the difference between a long and short layout right there. Now down this straightaway into the final corner. Will Mitchell throw some haphazard move? I doubt it, and indeed he does not. He's just going to take the good starting position from finishing 2nd in this heat. So Mitchell, for the first time this season, he will not come in as perfect in one of these races here tonight. Nathan Lyon, he will take the checkered flag in heat race number 1, followed by Mitchell, of course. Jake Hewlett 3rd, Philip Diaz in 4th, Michael Guest 5th, Garrett Lowe 6th, and Pablo Castro in 7th. Michael, Garrett, and Pablo, they're the drivers that are going to need to race their way into the feature through the final, through the consolation race, in just a couple of moments time. But coming up here in just a moment, we will have heat race number 2, and that grid is going to be set as follows. Stylen Shipovelsky, he'll be rolling off 1st, Logan Clampett in 2nd. Sindre sits as someone who's very exciting to watch. Last week, he will roll off 3rd, Ross Balfour, he will be 4th, Evan Millard 5th, Fabian Monterey in 6th, and Johan Hart, he will round out the 7-car grid for heat race number 2. That was an exciting one, Cam. First time we've seen Mitchell falter.
Yeah, and I gotta say, I've looked up a little bit. Of course, I'm gonna like him because he won the top split for the Daytona prototype. Nathan Lyon did so. Other than that, haven't seen him. Grid 2, getting ready to rock and roll.
Grid is set. Waiting for the lights to go on, res to begin to build, and there they go. Chip Pavelski, he's going to try to break away, but the inside line wasn't good for Mitchell, and it doesn't look good for that Ford Fiesta down low this time through corner number 1. They're all going to cycle their way through, but he gets a good run down low and much less physical through turn 1 this time. Logan Clampett, he set himself up into the second spot nicely as Ross Belfour. He's lurked himself into third place. Johan Hart in the background, he's gone around through that first chicane, so he's way, way deep down the order here, going to make it very difficult for him to have any hope of transferring up another spot.
Yeah, Fabian Menetre there, he helped Johan Hart find that barrier. Obviously not what he wanted there. He's already going to have to get ready for last chance qualifying. Cars coming in for the Joker lap right now. It's Chepowalski as well as Belfour, and then Clampett. Clampett did not, but you know what? He's honestly, for taking that Joker lap, not that far behind, so perhaps we'll see how this goes. Cars just getting massive air. I almost feel, for whatever reason, we seem to be getting more air than we did at the long layout, which is a bit odd. I feel like they would get more speed. Now, the corner's not any different, so I have no idea why, but either way, the cars are looking good right now, and interesting thing, Randy, split 2 being led by a Ford.
So we're already seeing that different manufacturers show very, very good pace here. Instantly enough, Logan Clampett not opting for the Joker here on lap number 2, and he almost pulls up alongside Ross Belfour as they go through that chicane, and Logan Clampett almost comes under attack from Evan Millard, and this is why I think that Clampett in that yellow Volkswagen should have opted for the Joker there on lap number 2. This is not good strategy for him, I think, and he's just getting held up by Ross Belfour, and this is going to be costing him time while Chip Pavelski is sitting just out in front of him. That said, if he feels like he's reeling in that number 1 machine, the patience may be a virtue that he may be able to pay off here, because it's about a 3-second delta. Now Logan is going to go for that Joker lap here on lap number 3. Will he be able to jump up into the race lead? He fights with Chip Pavelski up into the chicane. They're door-to-door, wheel-to-wheel, but no, Clampett not quite close enough to take that race lead.
If he held his car there, he would have punted him. He's actually punting him right now, actually, Chepowalski. And here comes Clampett on the inside. VW, he's going to take it. He's going to have the inside line here around this concrete barrier. And here comes Ross Belfour. He'll come into the event, and that'll will screw over Chepowalski's exit, actually. Logan Clampett, he is going to get a clean run here as we have only got 1 lap to go.
White flag is going to be out, and it's been a fantastic move from Logan Clampett to take that race lead. And Sindre Settas, he just took the Joker. He wants to try to take this race lead away. He slots himself into second and is very close to Clampett. 5 cars all fighting for the race win right here, and only 4 of them will transfer to the feature event. Which 4 will it be as Logan Clampett still leads the way through the shortcut at the right-hander? Sindre Settas has lost a little bit of ground over that yellow Volkswagen in front of him. Stefan Chepowalski, though, he is still lurking behind. It's going to be a big move likely from Evan Millard to try to lock in a transfer spot, but no, he's going to be a little bit patient on the entry to the corner, maybe thinking there's going to be chaos in front of him, but it's not going to pay off. Fabian Monterey, he also jokered a little late, but not quite able to make anything of it. But that was one of the tightest finishes to a heat race we've seen thus yet. Wow, that one was tight. Post-race results are as follows. Logan Clampett will win. Sindre Settas, he's going to come home in that second spot. So that was one of the tightest ones I've seen that finished one of those heat races.
They didn't really have the elbows out either, which was good to see. They didn't hurt each other.
Yeah, it wasn't too physical by them. Very, very close racing though. But still very, very tight. Well done by all of them to keep that clean, as Evan Millard, one of the drivers that unfortunately not going to transfer into that main event. He's going to have to do it the little hard way. Green flag waves, and now we are green and running here in the B main. Michael Guest, Evan Millard, Garrett Lowe, Fabian Monterey, Pablo Castro, and Johan Hart. There's the 6 drivers running. Only 2 of them will transfer. Michael Guest has a good start here, as it's going to be Monterey as well as Millard fighting door-to-door for that second spot. Through the chicane for the first time. Up and over the jump they will come, and Millard, he has that second spot.
Yeah, and Castro has a bit of an incident with Johan Hart. Hart not having the day he is wanted to have as he rode the VW up that ramp, and they both had a very bad launch and landing. Either way, up front, though, it looks like Michael Guest is going to be getting away. He is going to be comfortable. He wants to see him that gap grow, but here we go, a couple of cars taking the Joker lap.
So we expect. Surprised to not see Michael Guest take it early. It's a big risk, and this is the issue you have. Now Fabian Monterey, he ends up with the race lead, and now Michael Guest has to not only worry about drivers behind, but a driver ahead, and this can cause issues for you. This is why you generally see the likes of whoever's leading these races joker early, so they do not get jumped, and so they can maintain that clean air. Michael Guest, though, will he joker on the second lap through to take that race lead back? Yes, he will. So it's not really going to be a big issue as long as he doesn't make a mistake here, Cam, and he's not going to, so he's going to retain that race lead. But it's a big, big risk you take, and actually he was very close to catching the blend line, exiting the joker, and Fabian Monterey, a little bit of contact, almost saves him, but up and over the jump, he's facing the wrong way, spinning back onto the racing surface. Those two drivers of Johan Hart and Garrett Lowe, they just squeaked by, but Hart, he spun off on the grass as well.
Yeah, that one was Evan Maillard. He ended up, I think he took the joker. He came out, and where we saw earlier when Logan Clampett took the joker and he backed out at the last second, well, Maillard, he sent it, I believe would be the official term. And Menetre, he tried so hard to hold it, and then he did about a 180 over that ramp. Very impressive that he didn't manage to roll the thing. But either way, right now, it's Michael Guest, Evan Maillard, and Garrett Lowe. You're 1, 2, 3. So for as it stands, it's Michael Guest and Evan Maillard that would be transferring with, what, 2 laps to go?
That's currently the way it looks right now as they work themselves down towards the tail end of this short lap. Garrett Lowe is lurking behind. The thing that's going to be interesting is that, I believe it was Evan Maillard we saw, he was very close to the blend line, and there is a penalty if you cross that blend line. So the thing for Evan Maillard, even if he is in the spot right now, Kim, he has to try to open up a window behind in case he did get that black flag for blending a little bit too unsafely there.
Yeah, and there is a slow car, that's Pablo Castro. I only mention that because I wonder, perhaps with this being so short of a circuit, that the leaders could perhaps catch him. No, he's pulled off, so okay. We do have a fight for the win here in the last chance qualifier. Not sure what I would prefer, with taking a win in the last chance qualifier, or perhaps wrecking, trying to fight for the win and missing the main.
Oh, I know that Garrett Lowe would prefer if those two wrecked and missed the main white flag. Is going to wave here, lap 6 of 6. Michael Guest still trying to hold off Evan Maillard behind, and Garrett Lowe all the while still lurking, hoping for some tears up front. Michael Guest very slow through this sector following the jump, and Evan Maillard has an opportunity to pounce very close to one another on the brakes of this tight right-hand hairpin, and now down into the final braking zone onto the racetrack. Will Evan Maillard have any way to make a move here on Michael Guest, or will he just take the second spot? He looks to the outside instantly enough on Michael Guest, tries to work a bit of a cutback. Michael holds off the line, that he's going to win your last chance qualifier here, and Evan Maillard will slot into that second spot. Garrett Lowe will finish in third, about 3.5 seconds off your race leader, Fabian Monterey. He will be fourth, and Johan Hart and Pablo Castro, they will both finish this 1 lap down. Both drivers are going to be very, very unfortunate to their nights that they don't see themselves set through here. But with that, we now have our grid set for your feature event tonight. And let's go down the 10 cars that will be taking part. Nathan Lyon, he will be starting on pole. The first time we have seen anyone who is not Mitchell DeJong start in that lead spot. Logan Clampett will roll off second. He looked fantastic in his heat race. How will he be? Mitchell DeJong in third. Sindre Setsas fourth. Jake Hewlett in fifth. Stilian Chipalevsky in sixth. Philip Diaz seventh. Ross Belfour in eighth. Michael Guest ninth. And Evan Maillard will round out the 10-car field here at Daytona. Will we finally see someone upset Mitchell DeJong on Friday night dirt night? He's got 2 cars to his inside that he needs to be worried about as he runs down into corner number 1, and he needs to get a flawless start to have any hope of taking that lead early. Res begin to build. Lights go green, and we are racing in the feature event. It's a good start from Mitchell DeJong, but an awesome one from Logan Clampett as well. Nathan Lyon, very slow on the gun, and he's going to drop back to third, maybe worse, as Logan Clampett, he's going to take the race lead into the chicane for the first time. Mitchell DeJong is there keeping him honest, but he slots that going into Volkswagen into the second spot.
Yeah, elbows out there at the start. Amazing start from Michael Guest, I might add.
Oh, Logan makes a mistake. Logan makes a mistake, and Mitchell's going to take the race lead. Logan into the sector following the jump. Way too much speed, pushed way wide, and Mitchell DeJong halfway through lap number 1. He goes from third to first, Cam.
Well, this is pretty surprising here because that means that Nathan Lyon, he's out of the game. Logan Clampett, he's out of the game, as both DeJong and Clampett are taking their jokers, as well as Hewlett and Diaz. So good running here, I have to say, for Michael Guest, the point I was trying to make. He had an amazing start. He dove to the inside, and he actually got around probably 2 or 3 cars. You got to remember, he came in the last chance qualifier. We saw last race, last chance qualifier cars did very good. Well, they've been good here in the final at Daytona.
Down on the hairpin they come now for the second time in your feature event. Mitchell DeJong has a good lead over Logan Clampett. Not going to have very much to worry about from him. Sendre Setsas, he's going to take the joker here. What can he do? He's going to jump up into the second spot. Logan Clampett's going to get held up, so we do have change for number 2, but not a lot of ground made up on your race leader, Mitchell DeJong. Cam, after that slow start in the first heat race, he's taking this opportunity and he's starting to check out, which we've seen him do the past 3 weeks.
Yeah, and we got to see here if this holds, perhaps. I do wonder, perhaps DeJong was fighting a injured car during that heat, but I got to say, lap times will be rolling in as they go past the start-finish line. We got to remember here, they got to take this right-hander, and then there's the start-finish line, as lap times coming in 33.8, 34.3, so everyone else is in 34s, minus Jake Hewlett. So right now, Nathan Lyon, he had a very bad time over the ramp. He is not having a good one. I think he might have hit one of those barriers.
That is one of the mistakes that you commonly see in these cars around this place. A lot of close fighting up and down your mid-pack dozes. We've not really seen a big breakaway from anyone, and in fact, all 10 of your drivers are still running and are pretty much line as third. It's just a few car lengths that separates anyone, so that's another unique this layout here on the second time we come to Daytona, Cam. We used to seeing 1 or 2 drivers get caught up in incidents and end up falling. We still have all 10 drivers running and all 10 drivers within 6 seconds on the racetrack.
Yeah, and pretty much everybody has taken it their joker lap. Looking through everything is actually Michael Guest. He has a very bad time hitting a barrier, and now Ross Belfour has nipped the inside of him, almost taken him out. As Lyon, he's trying to fight on the outside for Javelski. Javelski, he was covering very well in that number 1 machine, though, and so they will continue on. So right now, if you, as Logan Clampett, he starts to make an attack on Setsas, so we've got fighting going all around this Daytona circuit.
5 laps down, 5 laps to go, and Mitchell DeJong has a 2.4-second lead. So while 6 seconds covers 10 cars, only 4 seconds covers 9 of them as Setsas trying to hold off Logan Clampett. Jake Hewlett behind. He makes a little bit of a mistake. Stilian Chipolevsky, he made a little bit of a mistake. This would have been exiting that chicane. He stopped over the top of the jump. I think this was just an individual mistake. Indeed, he was. Caught those tire barriers, ended up coming to a stop on the top of the tabletop.
Yeah, as Seth says right now, he's off as well. Logan Clampett, he's also off. So right now, what has happened here, as it looks like we had some kind of implosion of something or other. As it looked to me, nothing happened for DeJong, but I see Clampett, he hit the barrier, and that set everything off.
Yeah, Logan Clampett, that was just a mistake from him. He pushed way too hard into the corner, caught the outside wall, and then trying to fight with Sendre Setsas, caught the inside wall, and basically plowed into him. Sendre Setsas, really nothing he could do. That was 100% Logan Clampett's fault, but this has given Mitchell DeJong an absolutely huge margin over any competition, and Jake Hewlett sits in the second spot with a 6.6-second deficit to Mitchell DeJong, who currently leads. Michael Guest sits third with Ross Belfour fourth and Philip Diaz in that 5th spot. I believe we just had a driver take the joker. That was Evan Millard. He just jumped Ross Belfour to take that 4th spot, but Michael Guest still lurking behind Hewlett. Hewlett's made a couple mistakes early in this final feature event tonight. Cam, he was a little bit wide a few laps ago. It's a section of the racetrack they just went through. Right now, Michael Guest sitting there lurking, hoping for another mistake out of that Coanda Volkswagen.
And that's another last chance qualifier that would finish on the podium. And if I can make a particular joke, Mitchell DeJong has gotten so much of a lead that I would believe that the space between our car, Mitchell DeJong, the leader, and the second place car of Jake Hewlett is just about maybe a hair less than what we would normally see if Tim Ryan was behind the pacing truck in the sprint cars. But either way, Michael Guest, he's looking pretty strong trying to get on Jake Hewlett as we have Evan Millard off.
Evan Millard made a little bit of a mistake. Mitchell DeJong, he's going to come cycling through on this final lap. and take the white flag right now. Jake Hewlett, he's opened up a little bit of a buffer from himself to Michael Guest, so he should be somewhat comfortable about this little gap he has. It's going to be very difficult, and it'll take a big mistake to open that opportunity up, but we do have a close three-car scrap between Ross Belfour, Philip Diaz, and Nathan Lyon. Those three are all very close and all very relevant to one another. Philip Diaz, he did not make a very good trip over the jump as Jake Hewlett makes a mistake. Talked about him, the fact that he's made a couple mistakes already. He went up and over the jump, got a lot of oversteers. This is giving Michael Guest the second spot. There are also three cars fighting for the third spot now. Nate Lyon, Ross Belfour, and Phil Diaz. They all run down into the final corner, almost side by side as Nathan Lyon. He holds on to that spot for now. Phil Diaz and Ross Belfour both attacking. Evan Millard and Belfour, they make contact as Jake Hewlett behind. He's gonna get caught up in that, but Mitchell DeYoung, he will come through and he will make it 4 in a row here on our Friday night dirt nights in the Global Rallycross cars.
What an amazing final lap. That was crazy. Nathan Lyon, he stayed right in there, and he managed to pull that out of the hat to come home in third. Great battle in between that large chunk of crowd. And for Jake Hewlett, one lap, if he just had one lap where he finished right, he landed correctly on that jump, he would have had a top 3 just like that. But either way, great racing here and a fantastic finale at Daytona.
It's the smallest errors that can make the biggest difference in these races. Only 10 laps, you have to be picture perfect when the entire field is only separated by about 17 seconds, omitting Mr. Mitchell DeYoung, who's 10 seconds ahead of second place. Even a small little mistake means you drop a lot down the order. But let's go down your post-race results from round number 4 here at Daytona Short. Mitchell DeYoung, he hiccuped a little bit in his heat race, only finished P number 2, but he comes strong after a good jump here in the feature to take a win. Michael Guest from 9th on the grid from your last chance qualifier, he will finish 2nd on the podium today, and Nathan Lyon, after falling down the order after a bad start, will come home to finish 3rd. Phil Diaz, he has a good showing coming home P4, and Ross Belfour, he will round out the top half of the field in that 5th spot. Evan Millard, he will finish in the 6th spot. Jake Hewlett running in a podium position on that final lap. He will finish 7th after that mistake going up and over the jump. Cillian Chipolewski, he finishes in 8th. Sindre Setsas in 9th, and Logan Clampett, he will, after that mistake, he will be 4 laps down, rounding out this 10-car field here tonight in your feature event. Cam, that may have been the best race we've had of our 4 weeks running.
At least with the finales, I thought the last chance qualifier went very well. Heck, give us 2 or 3 more laps, because let me tell you, that ball of cars that we had after Hewlett had his off was fighting for not just for good positions, for good points, and they put on a show. It was pretty exciting, I gotta say, and I'm pretty happy that we were able to cover it here. It's a quick circuit here, this Daytona Short. I can see why they made the long version, but this one certainly was sensational.
That it was. It was an amazing race, and let's stand by with someone who's been nothing less than amazing in these Red Bull Global Rallycross cars. Hello, Mitchell. Hello, 4-time winner, and hello, Twitch chat. Mitchell, this Daytona Short track's a little bit different from the long layout. Let's give us your takes on the differences between the 2 tracks, the long and the short layouts. Which do you prefer? Which is tougher? You know, just go down, run it down, give us the rundown.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I tend to prefer the long layout a bit more. You know, this layout's very fun, but it's also very easy to be super close. There's only really like 2 or 3 corners. So everyone tends to be within a few tenths of a second per lap, so usually that means a little bit more closer racing and a bit harsher racing. So I tend to prefer the long layout. Certainly this one's still a bit better than I think the last week starting grid. It's a bit more predictable. Obviously, if you have like what happened in the heat race, you can still lose it, just getting a tap from the rear. So it's just Rallycross. Always kind of risky like that.
Now let's talk about that in that heat race. Things got very, very physical between yourself and Nathan Lyon in heat number 1. He ended up coming away with the win. The first time we've seen you falter all season long and not take victory in a heat race, or, well, you took victory in the feature, but you didn't sweep the entire night of Friday Night Dirt Night. Was the car a little bit bent after that little contact? You weren't really close enough to fight with him through that first heat, excuse me. Was the car a little bit bent, or were you just concentrating on getting a good start for the feature?
Yeah, no, off the start everything was good, and then just gave me a little bit of a tap from the rear and sent me sideways. And then something weird happened towards the end of the first lap. Maybe you saw on stream where I kind of like suddenly braked or something like that, but on my end the car kind of glitched out and like hit the tire barrier and flipped in front of me, so just had to I got a really big contact. It kind of broke the front and the rear of the car because I got a hit from behind as well. So yeah, car was super damaged the whole time, so just trying to make sure I made it through, and you know, obviously I was still trying to win it, but you know, we made it through, so that's all that matters.
Now, the Real World Red Bull Global Rallycross schedule was released just the other day, Mitchell, and some interesting points on that schedule. Seems to be 8 races, and there's 2 that definitely stand out. One is TBA, and the other is Europe. So can you give us any hints on the TBA track and the Europe venue as well, or are they doing a rallycross that spans an entire continent?
To be honest, I'm not exactly sure on the locations. I'm very curious as well. It'll be really cool to see. It'll be a nice change to get outside of the a little bit across the pond, it seems. So like last year I think we went to Canada. That was kind of the further, that was obviously outside the US, so now we're gonna go a little bit further this time. So yeah, we'll see what they have in store. I'm looking forward to it though. Should be fun.
Well, thanks for joining us, Mitchell. Congratulations on another win in these races. You've been absolutely flawless. Before we let you go, who gets it done? Any shout outs, and who would you like to thank?
Yeah, absolutely. No, thank all my teammates for everything, testing and all that. Like thank Virtual Racing School, the whole team, Joe Real Timing, and We're in Design, RaceSpot, of course, SimQuip, and yeah, everyone for watching.
Oh, that was Mr. Mitchell Young, who has been so flawless. But Mr. Cam Walsh, you're now going to be stood by with our second place runner tonight. That's Mr. Michael Guest in the 6th.
Lots of misters. We're very fancy to kick off 2018. Mr. Michael Guest, the number 6 machine. Your Volkswagen VW, it certainly looks well loved to say, but it carried you from 9th position to 2nd. When I saw that start, I figured you probably would have a very good hole shot, and you did. Just take me through your finale here. Well, actually, you know what? Before we get to the feature race, just take me through kind of the heat and the consolation race.
Yeah, so in the heat race, of course, these splits are the biggest of the week, and I just tried to get a decent time. I thought that a low 34 would be enough to be top 4 or so to get me into the feature, and it wasn't. So the heat race, I just got off of work and I came in here and I was really rusty for the first like 5 or so laps, and I ended up falling back behind and having to go to the consolation through that. But as I got hang on to it in the consolation, it started to come back, and wow, everybody's so competitive in here. Even if you're just running the best times, there's people all over. You just can't get away from people.
No, it seems like there's elbows every corner, and especially on a short circuit. We got to remember we're only running 35-second lap times, and it put on a very good show from the broadcast perspective. But there does have to be a level of stress. Normally we can stretch things out. You get a couple of laps. You find out maybe 1 or 2 cars are racing against. This one, it's literally you in the field. And then take me through the start at this. At the finale for the feature race. You got an electrifying start, dove to the inside of Philip Diaz and actually made the position. What's it like trying to dive in there, especially when corner number 1 is at hairpin at Daytona?
Oh yeah, with track position here, it's just so crucial, and you just have to get a great start to propel yourself into the race, and I was able to do that, and luckily with that start, I was able to throw it on the inside of Philip, and he gave me enough room to make it happen, or else we would have probably, many of us would have wrecked, so I'm very thankful to him that he gave me the room for that. But yeah, with the good start, I was able to get myself up to the top 5 or 6 or so, and from then on, it was just keeping my car relatively clean and just avoiding the wrecks.
And you managed to do that for the 2nd week in a row. One of the vehicles from the Last Chance Qualifier, which was a massive Last Chance Qualifier. Normally we only have 4 or 5. We had 6, and only 2 went. And you managed to take that. And So you came home in the second position, so congratulations to you. And, well, before we let you go, is there anybody you would like to give a shout-out to or thanks before we let you go?
Yeah, you guys for putting this broadcast on, my teammate Nathan in this race, and Nexus Esports for a great setup and a great team.
All right, well, Michael Guest, thank you so very much for hopping into the booth with us, and we will catch you next week.
Thanks.
So that was Michael Guest, the number 6 Volkswagen VW GRC machine. Randy, I gotta say, probably my vote for driver of the race. At electrifying start, didn't manage to really hit anybody too hard, and I gotta say, I'm a pretty big fan of that.
Yeah, it was a pretty impressive run there from Mr. Michael Guest. It was really exciting. But we still have one more interview lined up for you guys before we step away to head towards Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. And that's going to be with the 3rd place runner of Nathan Lyon. Nathan, it was quite an up and down night for you. Started on a big up, qualifying strong. Then you won your heat race over Mitchell, the first driver to take a win off of Mitchell in any of the phases of these races that we've done thus far. Then you get to the features, starting in the lead. You drop a couple spots, but you manage to scrounge your way back up to the 3rd spot. How was it for you over the phases of the night in that 7 machine?
It was pretty crazy. A lot happened. Really close, tight racing the whole time. Everyone's so quick, so it's really easy to get into people. Like on the start, I ended up giving Mitchell a bump. Didn't really mean to do that. Didn't realize how close I was to his bumper, but yeah, definitely wanted to say sorry to him about that.
Well, he didn't seem too bothered about the whole ordeal when he was chatting with us after the race in his interview, so I think it's pretty much no harm, no foul. But talking about, you mentioned how close this was tonight, and, Mitchell had the same, Mitchell basically said the same thing, that you'd get very, very close racing around this layout. How was it being in that mid-pack? Because there was a point where it was basically all 10 cars all lined up, all separated by a few tenths of a second between one another. How hectic is it trying to deal with that when you have some drivers jokering, other drivers not? Sometimes you'll have a driver that slots himself right up the inside of you as you go into that fast chicane following start-finish to go up and over the jump. How tough is it to deal with that? Is there any sort of iRacing experience you have coming into this that you might have that helps?
I ran a lot of races this week to get my I rating up to getting the split, and that definitely helped, all the experience. Most of it, though, was in front of people, so I didn't really have any races this week where I was mid-pack, so it's definitely something new. Also, with there's a few netcode incidents that happened in that, like in the heat race. I think it was in the 3rd or 4th turn. I ended up getting the 2x from Mitchell, but he was about 2 car lengths behind, so stuff like that can happen.
Well, thanks for joining us, Nathan. It was a good, strong showing from you. One, to take the victory away from Mitchell in the heat race, that was absolutely phenomenal. And then to come home and secure a podium in the feature event. May have had a little bit of help with some pandemonium that happened out in front, but podium's a podium. So before we let you go, any shout outs? Who would you like to thank after your performance tonight?
Nexus and racing around my teammate Clean all night. That was fun. We've had some fun battles all week. Also all the competitors that was racing around in the race. That was really fun.
Well, thanks again for joining us, Nathan. Hope to see you out here next week and have another strong night.
Yep, thank you.
Well, that does it for the interviews. Cam, round number 4, and man, I will say it, of the month of racing we've had here in the Global Rallycross cars on our Friday night dirt nights, that was the best race that we've had thus far.
What a way to kick off 2018. If you guys are not sure this GRC thing is the best thing, I mean, just watch the actual racing that was going on there. That was sensational. It was fantastic. Elbows came out, but it didn't go absolutely crazy. We didn't see any massive incidents going into one or anything like that in any of the heats or the last chance qualifier, to be fair. And I gotta say, really happy to see that we're getting new challengers on a weekly basis. Nathan Lyons, well, wasn't that sure whom that individual was? Well, certainly we know now. He's the only guy that's actually managed to finish at one position ahead, even if it was just a heat. Well, maybe next week, you never know. I'm pretty excited as we roll onward.
talking about next week, Cam, we're going to a new circuit that we've not seen yet. Daytona, we had a decent idea of what Daytona would bring because the long and short layouts, they're close enough that they produce very similar types of racing. But a very different circuit. We're going to Phoenix. The Joker is different. The way the infield is set up is different. Turn 1 is different. It's a longer run to the first corner. Phoenix has been, I think, one of the more popular layouts amongst most people. I think that's going to show some very, very good racing as well in 7 days' time.
Yeah, I can agree. Phoenix, I am a massive fan of. It's Phoenix and Lucas Oil. I have to say are probably my two favorite. But I also got to say I have not raced this short circuit, but boy, did it look like it was a good time as far as the racing product on the track. So we'll see. I mean, I got to say, for all of the tracks that iRacing Services brought to us in this Global Rallycross launch, because you know they're always going to be adding, I got to say the palette that we've got has put on some fantastic racing.
I don't think I can put it any other way. But thank you all for joining in for the first phase of Friday Night Dirt Night here, running the Global Rallycross cars around Daytona Short. As always, this is only part 1 of 3. Mitchell DeYoung, he wins here in part number 1. Part number 2 coming at you in just a moment as we move the show to Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania, and the World of Outlaw Dirt Super Late Models take the track at Williams Grove, home of the Pennsylvania Posse. Hope to see you join us in just a couple of moments' time. Don't go away.
Introducing a whole new form of racing to the best online racing simulation in the world. This is Dirt Racing on iRacing.com. Race online at some of America's most legendary dirt tracks, including Eldora and Williams Grove. iRacing is the premier online racing game featuring NASCAR, IndyCar, sports cars, and now World of Outlaws, the leading sanctioning body for dirt racing. iRacing is easy to use and features a centralized ranking system to make sure you have the best experience at any skill level. With a massive inventory of high-precision laser scan tracks and cars with an unmatched dedication to quality and detail, iRacing gives you the most authentic online racing experience available. Thanks to iRacing's dynamic track system, developed specifically for dirt racing, tracks change over the course of a race, just like your favorite dirt track on a Friday or Saturday night. From a slick racing groove all the way up to the cushion, iRacing's dirt tracks deliver non-stop racing action. Partnered with the World of Outlaws, iRacing is your source for the most authentic dirt racing experience available, featuring 4 brand new tracks and 11 new cars, including street stocks, legends cars, late models, NASCAR trucks, winged and non-winged sprint cars, with much more on the way. Join the Dirt Revolution on iRacing.com and start slinging mud today.
And welcome back to the special presentation of course, Dirt Night. It's your home on Friday nights for simulated dirt racing. We've got GRC locked away. Absolutely fantastic racing at Daytona. Now we set our sights to Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. Of course, a very well-known circuit is Williams Grove. And, well, we'll just get right on into it. Cars are going to be heading their way out for qualifying. Randy, I am super excited about being here. Williams Grove always puts on a good show. We've seen fantastic racing in sprint cars. Now, hopefully, we're going to see some real good racing in Williams Grove. Plus, I gotta say, some of the talent from the sprint cars is leaking into this late model series. I see a couple of familiar names from the sprint cars.
You know, I don't know if it's talent from the sprint cars that's leaking or if it's talented late model drivers that also wield a sprint car, because even though our global rallycross races have been so good, Kim, I have to say the dirt super late models, these World of Outlaw cars, they have been the best races on our Friday night dirt nights the last 4 weeks running. They haven't had a bad week. Big, good shows every single time. The Rallycross stuff has been a lot of fun because it's new, but Mitchell's just been running away with it. Here we're seeing 2, 3, 4 people fight for the win across multiple heats and the 40-lap feature event. This, I think, has been the show of the night.
Yeah, and it's constantly delivered. Couple of times where it went okay, but yeah, I think we're going to have a good one here. Philip Diaz, I believe, is the only one who has climbed out of the GRC car and has made the trip up to Williams Grove. Under the lights, by the way, seems to be a big theme. We have been under the lights, I think, probably the most that we have seasons long. Qualifying time should be coming across. As I'm pretty excited about it. Hugo says we're always going to be racing under the lights. That makes me super excited. That is the authentic experience as far as I'm concerned. Always got to race under the lights. Of course, Friday night is where we race at Brewerton. And I got to say, Randy, as far as the dirt schedule for the entirety of the continental United States, it may be virtual racing, but I'm sure there's been a late model race or two somewhere, but as far as kicking off 2018, I think we might be one of the very first dirt racing broadcasts.
Yeah, we're probably one of the first indeed. You just had the Gateway Nationals. They were just a couple weeks back, so they pretty much rounded out 17. Really, the first big dirt show that's going to kick off 2018 is going to be the Chili Bowl here in a short time, and big news on that, Cam, coming to the sim.
Oh, yeah, they're sending the trucks out there. They're going to get everything nice and scanned up, and they said perhaps mid-time this year, maybe a little bit later. I'm pretty excited. It looks to me like they're just absolutely scheduling every single massive track that they can that is completely well known by all the people as far as the dirt racing spheres go. I'm pretty excited about it. We got that dirt car midget as qualifying times coming in across the screen right now. Jacob Leverstein, no surprises there. Randall Carter, Austin Semmelman, Virgin, Graham Lucas, Chowning. Right now, you're in top 5. But I gotta say, I'm pretty excited. Overall, I mean, now we've got Kokomo that's on the way. I know for a fact that they're looking at Weed Sport, and I gotta say, I'm really hopeful that we continue to grow the brand. And also, don't forget, Dirt Car Nationals are coming in February.
Yeah, pretty much every form of motorsport kicks off around late January, mid-February. Well, pretty much everything but Global Rallycross, that kicks off in May. But everything's getting ready to get started here. It's such an exciting time of the year, isn't it? Because you have sort of a reset for a few months, and then things sort of slowly start trickling in. You have the Gateway Nationals, sort of a midway point in the off-season. You get the Chili Bowl that sort of kicks it off, and then you get, if you're a big fan of a lot of racing, you get things like endurance races. You get the Roar before the 24, which is the big practice session. You get the Bathurst, 12-hour. You get and then you get really that starts the racing season. Really is the 24 hours of Daytona. It really is sort of a countdown to green for the racing season for everyone around the world.
It's ticking, and it's ticking quickly. We've got the first heat already locked away. Let's take a quick look at the grid number 1 for heat number 1. No surprises, by the way. Top of the poll, Jacob Leverstein. He's your current points leader in the season championship, 457 points. But unlike GRC, this is actually extraordinarily close. You have got 6 drivers in the top 7 that have over 400 points. Grid number 1 is as follows. Jacob Leverstein, he's leading right now. Randall Carter, he'll be second. Ty Spearman, he'll start third. Philip Diaz, fourth. Cameron Higgins, fifth. Brandon Mullis in the sixth position. Petey Bryan will be starting in seventh. And Alex Bergeron, well, perhaps, maybe, he needs to find some of that speed. He did not have a good qualifying session here, Randy. And either way, we'll get this pace truck rolling here. It's small heats. Gotta say that the field does feel a little light, but that was for competitive balance between the two splits. 15 cars in one split, 14 cars in another split. But boy, I'd love to just see the whole field running here.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'd like to see all 28, 29 cars. I'd love to see the splitting numbers somewhat adjusted a little bit, because it works great for the Rallycross stuff, but it's a little small for these super late models, and even for the sprint cars. Let's bump it up a little. It'd be a lot of fun. But 8-car heat. Jacob Leverstein, he's been super fun. Randall Carter, he was quick in practice and qualifying as well. Like you said, though, Alex Bergeron, uncharacteristically off the pace. 20.5, slowest driver by several tenths of a second. Not really what we're used to out of that number 1 machine.
Well, perhaps he just felt like, you know, it might be fun to get up in the top split, see what he can do. Pace lights out on the official iRacing Chuck Hill dive to the safety of pit lane. Jacob Leverstein, he's going to be the one. That takes us to the green flag to start our dirt night.
That was lap 1, Kim.
What? No, but the lights are out. Oh, the safety truck, somebody's got to talk to that safety truck driver. Him and I are going to have a conversation, okay? Because I see he's got a headset on. I know he can hear me. So he turned his lights off a lap early. But either way, Jacob Leverstein now is going to be taking us to the green flag after he takes us one more trip around this Williams Grove circuit, which gives us plenty of time to talk about the Williams Grove circuit. A couple of issues inside of the exit of corner number 4 can certainly get you in trouble, and you cannot go full speed into the inside of corner number 1 without taking the guy out on the outside. So we will see what happens, how these cars drive, as Jacob Leverstein will now be taking us to the green. That number 4 machine, that super late model getting ready to rip, rock, and roll. We are green here at Williams Grove Speedway.
What a jump from Jacob. He is bolted away with this race lead. Absolutely no one even close. Philip Diaz, he gets into the 13th machine deep. Big incident here in heat number 1. We've got half the field almost turned around, coming onto the back straightaway, and that has opened up a huge margin for the top few drivers.
I don't even think anybody was really damaged. I see Randall Carter, perhaps he's the only one that's got damaged. I can see his radiator sticking out of the front grille. Everyone else is continuing, however. And yeah, Jacob Leverstein, he is going to be a happy camper for that one. That number 4 machine, he is going to be excited. But Ty Spearman is there. Lap times will be coming in just a moment's time. They go past the starter stand. It's a 19.8 versus a 19.9. So Leverstein does have the speed. No surprise there. Bergeron, he's moved himself 1 lap to 3rd. Diaz is in 4th.
So Leverstein just doing everything he can. Ty Spearman showing good. And Alex Bergeron, we talked about him, Cam. Slowest driver in qualifying, started this heat race in 8th out of 8 cars. And he currently sits in that 3rd spot. Phil Diaz, though, he is slowly reeling him in, doing about 4/10 of a second quicker lap times. Thing is, I think that number 1 car is going to make that super late model very, very wide, and is not going to make it easy for that 14 to find any way through.
Yeah, and I gotta say, perhaps, I don't know how passing is gonna go here at Williams Grove, but just look at the angle of attack that these cars get. I mean, you're talking almost 30 degrees. That rear is slipped out, and that's almost like my drive home here in Syracuse. It's been snowing for literally a week. But either way, I gotta say, Diaz, he's reeling him in. Bergeron, the lap times aren't there, but the position is. Let's see what happens as Philip Diaz is starting to lock away. This is only an 8-lap heat, as we are going to be closing out lap number 6 momentarily. So we'll see here as Diaz, he's going to be on the attack.
It's a very narrow racing line here. It's very, very slow entry as well, strumming a lot more speed than we typically are on the tracks we've seen thus far. So getting these cars backed up into the corner, a little bit more difficult. You can't quite muscle your way down the inside the way you might try to, but Diaz, he's going to try to get a run up top. Can he make something happen in 3 and 4? No. Bergeron not opening the door, opens it a little bit through 3 and 4 because he's running the middle instead of right up against the bottom. Give me a little hope for Diaz, but white's in the air.
Now, white flag is going to be out for Jacob Leverstein. No surprises here. It's your points leader in the super late modified, or modifieds, super late models, as he is going to be going down the backstretch, and he will take heat number 1. He's got probably a 5-car lead over Ty Spearman. No surprise there. Bergeron, he holds out over Philip Diaz. Cameron Higgins will take it. Brandon Mullis, and then Petey Bryan. Randall Carter will come across the line in 8th position. Grid number 2, getting ready to rock and roll. Jordan Wesley, he is your second runner in the point standing. Austin Semmelman, however, Randy, is going to be starting his outside. Then you got Josh Phillips, Virgil Graham, Lucas Chowding, David Heilman, Joe Letterello, and then, Joe Letterello is finishing out your 7-car grid. But yeah, Jordan Wesley, Austin Semmelman, you're 1-2.
And those two have been phenomenal in these cars as we wait these 7 drivers to take our grid so we can run this heat race and get our feature event sorted. But Jordan Wesley's been really impressive in these cars. I mean, interesting to see what he has. Very close in terms of speed to that number 1, excuse me, not that number 1 machine, but race winner in heat race number 1 of Jacob Leverstein. And I think he should be able to run away with this. He has a bit of an advantage over Semmelman, and we saw in that heat race cam, there's not a lot of places to make moves right now around this racetrack. It's basically a bottom fest at the moment. It's not really slicked off down there, and really just the geometry of the track. You can't make that top side work until the bottom starts to go away. So Jordan, as long as he gets a good jump, he should be able to come away with this one, so long as he doesn't make any big mistakes.
Under the blue bridge for the first time does heat number 2 go. There behind the pace truck. Pace truck is going to do another lap. I had a conversation with him. We're on the same page now. I hate to say I have to quote Captain Jack Sperry. Where has all the rum gone? Either way, as Jordan
Jack
Wesley...
Sperry?
Jack Sperry? Did I just... No. Oh,
yes,
boy, I just... Sparrow. Okay, all right, I got this. Either way, Jordan Wesley, he is going to be looking to fight with Austin Semmelman. We got to remember, Semmelman's got speed. Yes, he's quick in the sprint car. He absolutely is, seeing as he's the reigning champ in the sprint car. But you know what? He is lightning fast in these super late model machines anyways. Josh Phillips, he's going to be there as well. Virgil Graham, you got to wonder how they're going to get the start going. As far as I can see, the only pass you're going to be able to make is if you bomb going into 1 and push them up. But that is going to be a very impolite pass. So we'll see what they do here. We got to remember, we are pretty much just going to go straight to the feature. So these guys are just running to get the track worn in, running to see where the position goes, because that starting position is ever so important. That number 6 machine, Jordan Wesley, he is going to take the launch, and he leaves everybody in the dust. We are green for heat number 2 at Williams Grove.
Showing up to work nice and early is that 6 machine of Jordan Wesley, and he has a big lead. Josh Phillips, he's slotted in a second. Semmelman not going to be a happy camper as he falls back into that 3rd spot. Virgil Graham 4th, and rounding out the top 5 is going to be Lucas Chowding. Joe Letterello last place, still running hard with David Heilman, and they're very close. Joe might be able to make a move here down into 1 and 2, very close door to door through the first part of the racetrack, and Joe gets good momentum off the corner for the top side. David is strong, and that NX car not quite able to get a job done.
Right now, everybody's sticking together. Nobody's checked out. Wesley is sitting right there. Josh Phillips, he gets that machine cooking. And that number 7 machine, as he is just, he's slowly he's able to drag in. He actually reaches in. The entry to 1, and he's not careful. He's going to nip that number 6 machine in the bud. As he gets ever so close on the exit of 4 now, as Austin Semmelman is also there. Virgil Graham is there. The whole field is pretty much together. And Randy, this is what we've been looking for. On top of that, this is going to really wear in the track.
That's what we really need, because we need that bottom to sort of go away a little bit, just slicking off. It doesn't need to totally die, but it needs to get a little bit slicker down there. And Josh Phillips is still running strong, holding Austin Semmelman up behind him. Semmelman is quicker, but that 7 machine does not make a mistake. It's the 6 hiccups a little bit. Jordan Wesley, they're 3 wide for the lead as the 7 works the middle. He's going to take it to Semmelman. He wants that 2nd spot in the 6. I said he just needed to be calm, cool, and collected to get here. He makes a couple mistakes, and now he runs himself in 4th.
Yeah, a couple of situations that they need to get situated at. Jacob Leverstein, he enjoyed that one. He's not even in the race. But either way, Josh Phillips, he's going to enjoy taking the lead from there. Austin Semmelman is now running 2nd. Virgil Graham's now in 3rd. Jordan Wesley, he's now been cycled back to 4th position. Lucas Chowning, and then David Heilman, then Joe Lorello. Everyone now just starting to space out, get a little comfortable here as we are on lap number 7 of 8 laps. But Josh Phillips, well, he's got the position as well as Austin Selman. And for Jordan Wesley, sometimes you just got to ask yourself, what happened?
Well, he made a mistake in the turns 1 and 2. That's what happened. They come down the front straightaway and take the white. Josh Phillips still going to have a little bit of concern behind him as Austin Selman is very, very close as they work themselves onto the back straightaway for the final time in towards 3 and 4. And I think Josh Phillips, one more time, he has to be clean. Selman sent it a little bit down low, but not going to be able to make that stick. Not enough grip down there just yet. And that 7 machine, he's going to win heat race number 2.
Easy peasy, Josh Phillips after he got that position. Austin Selman 3rd, Virgil Graham 4th, Jordan Wesley 5th, Lucas Chowning 6th, David Heilman, he'll finish, and then Joe Letterello rounds out heat number 2. All going now to the feature race. Just like that, it is easy peasy, lemon squeezy, no need for a B main. We are gonna have 15 super late model machines here in the world of Outlaws Craftsman Sprint Car Series here on RaceSpot TV, iRacing Live. Of course, thank you so very much for joining us. It is the super late models, and Jacob Leverstein is going to be sailing us into the dark here at a Williams Grove Speedway. Josh Phillips will be starting his outside. Ty Spearman, Austin Selman, Alex Bergeron. He had a good finish. He'll start, even though he qualified last. We'll see how he does as he starts from 5th in the main. Virgil Graham will be starting his outside. Philip Diaz, Jordan Wesley, Cameron Higgins, Lucas Chowning, Brandon Mullis, David Heilman, Petey Bryan, Joe Litorillo, and then Randall Carter. 15-car field ready, rock and roll here at Williams Grove. Randy, under the fireworks, under the lights, it's a good time.
Good time indeed. All 15 cars on track at once, and I think this is going to be a good night, Cam. Like we were saying, the track in the state it's in right now, it is very one groove-ish down along the bottom, but 40 laps of action, that bottom groove has already started to slicken off, and you see people moving up the racetrack, but it seems like there's just enough window of opportunity to give drivers hope that you can make a move down along that bottom work. You saw Austin Selman try to make a fight for the race lead with Josh Phillips come into the checkered in 3 and 4 in that last heat race. I think we're going to be reaching prime and optimal track condition, not necessarily prime or optimal in the sense of lap times, but prime and optimal in the sense of racing and the sort of product we'll be seeing on track here in about 15 or so laps time. And I think when we get to that window, Cam, it's going to be a hectic 30 or so odd laps to go from there.
Yeah, I'm going to say perhaps halfway is when the track is going to start going away, because I think you can just throw the slide into 1 and into 3 and get the cars comfortable there, but we'll have to find out. You can already see a pretty defined shine on the typical route that you would see. They're not like the sprint cars. You really can't hang it on the outside to really have a good exit. We'll see, however, how Jacob Leverstein does it. Does he just check out? He's got Josh Phillips his outside as far as qualifying times go. Well, not much in it. I mean, 1/10 between the two machines as they are going to go behind the starters. They're going to go in front of the starter stand one more time, I believe. Nope, into the pit lane they will go. Jacob Leverstein, he will almost nudge Josh Phillips out of the way. They are going door to door just like that. Well, if that doesn't set it up for you, I don't know what does, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the finale here at Elite Late Models at Williams Grove Speedway.
Jacob Leverstein leaning all over the 7 machine. We got an incident though in corner number 1. 3 machines around. That's David Heilman. Not sure what would have started this one here. They all went down in towards corner number 1. This came from Joe Letterello, but there was a second mistake as well. It was a couple separate incidents that I think happened here, Cam. Once, Lucas Chowning, he got on the back of Cam Higgins. Actually, Cam may have gotten into the back of someone and check up. Not sure, but big incident in the mid-pack.
I think that everyone got on the binders, which is what you should expect going into corner number 1. I'm just saying. And I think instead of wanting to plow into the field, Cameron Higgins kind of pulled it into the inside there. And then he ended up dooring the rear end of Philip Diaz. Anyways, after that, it just everyone piled into each other. And unfortunately, David Heilman took the brunt of that. But for Jacob Leverstein, I mean, well... You gotta laugh. I mean, Jacob Leverstein and Joshua Phillips. I gotta say, Randy, we have covered many starts here, and we know, especially with the World of Outlaws Craftsman Sprint Car Series, we have had to cover a lot of restarts. And I don't think I've ever seen anyone take the green literally making contact with their competitor.
It's I think it's just the way you want to start here, Kim. You want to try to be as high up, excuse me, up the racetrack as you can. I've seen it in some of the short tracks that we have on the sim, the asphalt stuff. Irwindale's another track where you want to be up top, and because of that, that top groove will get squeezed. And I think that's, you know, that's the only thing I can think of. But still, a very, very physical start there from that Ford machine I've ever seen.
Well, it was pretty exciting to watch, and I gotta say, Josh Phillips did not seem unaccustomed to it at all, which should tell you all you need to know about the racing at the super late models. These guys are used to it. These guys all know each other, and they are ready to rock and roll and put on a show for you, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. So for the second time now of the night, we will see that iRacing official pace truck pull into the safety of pit lane. I believe it is this time by, and we will get under green flag racing conditions once again. That will be 5 laps down and 35 to go as we are ready to rock and roll these machines. They do weigh quite a hefty bit, so the track should wear in fairly soon. We'll see what these drivers can do in changing conditions. Pace truck is in. Jacob Leverstein and Josh Phillips are door-to-door already. Austin Selman tried to take a really good bite out of the jump, but he doesn't get anything in it. Whole shot, Jacob Leverstein, but he's got competition on the outside.
Has that top side, came in the 7, trying to work the top, but no. Josh Phillips, we got another big stack up in the midfield.
Oh, yeah.
Another quick caution. 11th around both the Inex cars involved in this one. Phil Diaz caused a little bit of issue in the first heat race. We got into Randall Carter, and I think he may have tagged the back of Alex Bergeron this time. That was very, very close. And actually, yeah, I think that 14 got into the 1. Actually, that 14 may have had help getting into the 1. He may have gotten, yeah, he did indeed. He got tagged from behind. He got sent into Alex there.
Yeah, it's kind of a really big old accordion. I think Alex Bergeron, he just, he sent it into 1 in the car, absolutely. The rear kicked out, and then everyone just kind of piled in. I think Joe Lorello, he got the worst of it. I kind of wish that they held the flag just for a moment's time because everyone got away. Everyone got away in under speed way before the leaders would have gotten there. I thought that we probably could have stayed green. We've seen sometimes, Randy, sometimes they do hold the yellow. Unfortunately, this time just doesn't seem to be it. So we'll have probably a 30-car sprint. A 30-lap sprint. We love a 30-car sprint. Yeah, we probably a 30-lap stint at Randy at the end of this caution period. So a couple of quick cautions. Gotta say, Jacob Leverstein, boy, he knows how to get his elbows out here on these restarts.
Yeah, that he does. Hopefully that this gets everyone a little bit calmed down and we can get some green flag running in. Because this has been, you know, the super late models, they've been very, very clean on the races they've done thus far this season. Let's just hope that they can get a little bit sorted and keep it clean and keep it green here for a nice long run.
Keep it clean, keep it green indeed. Though I think that nowadays in recent events, won't talk to it in specifics, but might not want to do that anymore. Either way, Jacob Leverstein, he is going to be covering in his... honestly, I like the paint scheme. It almost reminds me a bit of retro colors. That turquoise and pink number 4. It's a color I honestly like. It reminds me of the old Polaris snowmobiles, like an old Indy 400 from the early 90s. Either way, lights out on the pace truck. Either that or I'm blind. Hopefully I'm on par with the driver of that truck now that we've gotten to the finale. But I gotta say, we'll see. Will Jacob Leverstein crowd out Josh Phillips once again? Yes, he will. He will leave him barely in room. You know what? They got more room than I think they've started with all night. As Jacob Leverstein will take the green flag. Austin Sumlin, he'll slide in quickly. Let's see. Can we get a green flag run going into 1 and 2? Everybody holding. Couple of door-to-door contacts. But you know what, Randy? We finally got away.
A little bit of beating and banging, but everyone's through 1 and 2 clean. Into 3 and 4 now. This is really the first time they've gone into it hot, and everyone's clean through here as well. Good close racing through the mid-pack. Ty Spearman, Virgil Graham, Jordan Wesley, Bergeron, Chowning. All of these guys fighting as they roll off into 1 and 2. Cars up top, cars down low. The 5 machine gets a little bit of a tap. So does the one of Bergeron. There's 3 wide. Bit of a squeeze coming down the back straightaway. Almost everyone in that mid-pack involved, but everyone's still pointing the right way.
Bergeron was able to barge his way through there as he really did not have it clear on the inside. He made it clear and he made up the position. Austin Silverman, he is parked onto the inside of Josh Phillips. He is as close as you can see. Now that is somebody who knows how to drive a late model machine. Watch these two. Watch how close they drive side by side. going into these corners. There's nothing between the two yet. They managed to sort it all out. That's how you know that these two know how to tangle, but these guys got to be careful, Randy. If these two cars start racing too hard, that's going to allow Jacob Leverstein to check out. But if you know that Jacob Leverstein owns the field anyways, I mean, well, if he's going to run away with it, let him run away with it and fight your own battles. But I got to say right now, everything looking pretty all right.
Leverstein's been a tenth or two quicker than these guys every single time around this racetrack, so I think, Cam, that if you're anyone in this racetrack, there's no point in trying to race for Leverstein. You need to race for yourself. So if you're in that 2 machine, I would get aggressive. I would really take the fight to Josh Phillips if I was Austin Selman, try and get that second spot. Bit of close racing behind, though, the 8 machine of Lucas Chowning. Take a little bit of a tap from Cameron Higgins. Meanwhile, he's fighting with Virgil Graham, so 3 cars scrapping into mid-pack.
Yeah, and I gotta say here, Austin Selman, all he has to do is lead off the brakes for just a moment's time, get that fender just a little bit under the rear, and use that fiberglass horn to perhaps move the machine out front, or will he just door check him? No. These guys are racing clean, and that is going to be good to see, I have to say here. Perhaps as the laps tick away, that will happen, but this is allowing Ty Spearman to enter the picture here. Spearman, he has been running fairly well, started in 3rd, he's down to 4th. Austin Selman, he started in 4th, he's up to 3rd. So this front pack, Randy, seems to be sticking together outside of Leverstein, who's checked out. But I think now that we've gotten everything away, we're pretty comfortable. But I gotta say, if Alex Bergeron had a rear view mirror, I don't know if he'd want to look in it, because it's getting hectic back there.
Cam Higgins as well as Lucas Chowning, they've continued their spree of contact last time through the front straightaway. A little bit of contact, and they both almost went around down that front straightaway. They both managed to save it, though, as they work themselves now back onto the back straightaway. Here's Higgins working that rear bumper of Bergeron, as you said, into 3 and 4. Down to the bottom, running through the slick a little bit, makes a little door-to-door contact with Bergeron, not able to make that stick, though. So people already, Cam, thinking there's enough room up top that he can make that move work, and Bergeron wisely into 1 and 2 this time. He kept that door shut, but that groove is slowly moving more and more up the racetrack as we're approaching halfway.
That makes me a very happy man, as Josh Phillips has now got Ty Spearman on the inside, and Austin Sullivan has managed to make the maneuver as we missed that one. But let me tell you, no surprise there that Austin Sullivan's got by. He seemed absolutely homed in like a missile set up with a laser to try to get around that car of Josh Phillips. Let's see what his lap times are now that he has got a clean track up ahead. And I gotta say, for the rest of the field right now, they are still racing pretty good and hard as Alex Bergeron is covering from Cameron Higgins. But I gotta say right now, Ty Spearman, he is all over Joshua Phillips for the 3rd position, Randy.
Yeah, Spearman is sitting there very, very close to Josh Phillips. He wants that 3rd spot as Sullivan's been able to break away here. Bergeron, though, he is basically in a similar situation. He's got 4 cars. Hell, he's got 6 cars lined up all right behind him, everyone wanting through it. So I think that one machine, Cam, we saw him slowest in qualifying. He sort of spoofed his way up into this with a good starting spot here. The 9 machine taps that outside wall, a little cutout, entering corner number 3, and Lucas Chowning, he's going to take advantage. He jumps him into 3 and 4 because of that little mistake, and they're side by side again into 1 and 2.
Yeah, great racing we are seeing here. We had those couple of cautions, and now they have managed to sort themselves out. As right now, Lucas Chowning, he seems to be a little bit later on the brakes than Alex Bergeron for the 6th position here as we are on lap 22 of 40. So we are past the halfway point. Jacob Leverstein, he's checked out. Austin Silverman, he's trying to catch up, but his lap times are not as fast as Leverstein's anyways. Josh Phillips is covering from Ty Spearman, and then you've got this massive gaggle of cars. Alex Bergeron has been passed by Lucas Chowning, but he's got a good run to the inside line. I gotta say, this is some pretty good fighting going on, and this is what you don't want to do. You do not want to be the inside car going into 1. Alex Bergeron, though, he's hanging tough, but I think he's gonna have to lose that position.
Yeah, that ultra inside groove has just gone away. You can't really run it anymore. You can sort of enter low, but you have to slide up the racetrack. But when you have a car right next to you, of course, not enough room for you to do that. So Alex not able to defend that spot 6 machine. He's going to try to fight with the 9 of Cam Higgins. That was Jordan Wesley trying to make a move, but unable to make that happen here. But all the while, Cam's still out in front. Have to ask Jacob Leverstein if it's going to be paper or plastic, because he has gone through the checkout line.
Yeah, I gotta say, I enjoyed the drone camera footage there from Hugo Louis. That was pretty good there. Besides, I forgot to introduce ourselves. I'm Cam Walsh, that's Randy Chenowth, and there's Hugo Louis. I don't think I mentioned that at all. You know, now's a good time to. But either way, Ty Spearman, he has been working, I have to say, probably the last 5 or 6 laps now on Josh Phillips. He is trying to find an inside line, but he just can't do it. And Randy, it's looking to me, he keeps leaning. This is the problem, I almost would have to say. I'm not trying to criticize him, but he keeps leaning. He keeps trying to, like, drive into the mirror of the car in front of him. The car in front of him doesn't have any mirrors. He's just leading. He's losing himself valuable track position because he doesn't set himself up. But either way, he's sliding to the outside now, maybe overtaking the outside. No, so for Spearman, he is trying and probing right now to try. It's almost like a game of chess, but we almost got 10 to go.
That inside groove, it just hasn't slickened up enough, has it? Because that 7 can just keep himself down there, and that 10 not yet able to make the top work. You see him go to the bottom into 1 and 2. Can he get the momentum? The 7 runs up the track, which is sort of the optimal line right now, and that's just sort of the problem. I think Spearman, he just doesn't have a good line that he can run. He's very fast on the entry at 3 and 4, but the top side cam is just so much longer duration than the bottom that he can't get a good run. He can't come up alongside, and the dirt down there is good enough that the 7 and Phillips can just keep it down there. It's a 10 of Spearman, almost a bit overlap.
Yeah, 3 wide between Higgins, Bergeron, and Wesley. As Higgins, he ended up bouncing off the outside wall off of corner number 4. Sorry to kind of change the subject abruptly, but my goodness, the rest of the field here from 8th on back has got a hair's breadth between them. As Spearman, yes, he is certainly trying, but these guys are going side by side almost every single lap. So for Higgins, he's comfortably sitting now in 7th position. He's got a run, but Wesley, and I was expecting a bit more speed from Wesley, but it just doesn't seem to come to pass, as perhaps it's him stuck in traffic, as right now Joe Littorello was leaning on Petey Bryan. Petey Bryan, he's going to hang tough, and he's going to hold it. Philip Diaz is entering the picture now on the outside, in the back of the field here, 8 laps to go.
So the NX Racing teammates working together, trying to get moves done here as that 12 machine of Petey Bryan working that top side of the racetrack, still wheel to wheel with Phil Diaz, and he's going to make that top side work due to his positioning and that inside groove because it's sort of gone away. Not quite able to make that work with Phil Diaz because of the way the overlap was actually working there. It's still close and exciting racing here as we're quickly approaching 5 to go.
Quickly indeed, as we had those 2 early cautions. Since then, it has been clean sailing, especially for the number 4 machine of that driver there, Jacob Leverstein. The machine looks comfortable, it looks in control. He almost, if we had another 10-15 laps on this feature, he'd have to deal with lap traffic, as he's got David Heileman and Brandon Mullis up ahead there fighting for that 15th, 14th position. But either way, Austin Silverman, he's an island all his own. Then you got Josh Phillips, Ty Spearman fighting for position. Virgil Graham is not that far ahead of Lucas Chowning. Cameron Higgins, Alex Bergeron, Wesley Littorello, Brian Diaz, Carter is currently your running order. But I got to say, as Leverstein, while he looks to lap the field, he is on lap number 36. Let's see what happens if he catches these cars, and they are not running that fast. One of them is carrying damage, Randy. I almost wonder perhaps that would allow someone to enter the picture, but I think that's just a thing of fantasy, because I gotta say, Leverstein, not only is he quick, I imagine he's pretty good around that traffic.
He's going to need to be, though, and this is going to be a very stressful situation for him. 4 laps to go, and Selman is close enough to be a concern. 1.7 seconds back. If you had clean track, it'd be no worries whatsoever, but having the lap traffic in front of you like this is going to make Jacob really hesitant. He needs to be picture perfect here, getting around this traffic. He goes to the top side, hasn't reeled it in enough just yet to make a move, but those 2 are scrapping side by side with one another. That's going to make the 4's job very, very difficult. You see both of them pull to the inside. They let that 4 through. Very well done by both of them. They still maintain their fight. They don't get any less physical with one another as Jacob takes 2 to go.
Yeah, I think perhaps it's a little bit, it's difficult to just immediately try to shift this car to go to the inside. But either way, yeah, we are going to have 2 to go. White flag is going to be picked up this time by, as now there's a lap car between Leverstein and Selwyn, so no issues there, I would think. Jacob Leverstein, he has been dominant. He was dominant in heat number 1, even though it was kind of given to him after that massive incident behind him. at the start of heat number 1 as, well, we had 2 cautions. He elbowed his way to a comfortable start up front with Jordan Wesley. No, excuse me, that was Joshua. But either way, Jacob Leverstein, he is going to take the victory in the feature race at Williams Grove. Did you expect anyone else? The Virginia's driver is going to take the W. Austin Sullivan, he will finish in 2nd position. Josh Phillips, he'll finish 3rd. Ty Spearman is going to be back in the 4th position. Virgil Graham, Lucas Chowning, your top 5 plus 1. So either way, gotta say, thought we had some pretty good running, Randy, and you know what? Kind of no surprises there, and we'll get your thought just before we go through the finishing grid.
That was a really, really good run up and down the field. Those early cautions, like you said, but I don't think we didn't really see anyone lose too much in terms of damage. A couple of cars got a couple big hits, but no one dropped out. The entire field finished that race. 13 of them on the lead lap. Only those 2 drivers ended up 1 lap down. But it was a good night of racing there. Williams Grove. Definitely a little bit more interesting in the late models, and well, I won't say interesting, but it's much different in these cars than it is the sprints. Some of the tracks run relatively similar in terms of how the track develops and how they race, but this place it's sort of its own separate thing between the sprints and the late models, and that's good to see because that's how most tracks are in real life. You generally see late models and whatnot run one way, and the wing sprints another, and that's always a lot of fun.
Yeah, and we got to see the mud build up on these machines here. Paperclip, first time I've seen paperclips here, and it was a good run. And let's take a look at the finishing order here at the feature race for the World of Outlaws Craftsman Late Model Series here from Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. Jacob Leverstein, well, did you have any guess? 16 minutes and 3 seconds was the time on the board. 2 cautions. That number 4 machine started first, comes home first. Austin Silman, he'll come home 2nd position. Josh Phillips will finish in 3rd. Ty Spearman will finish 4th. Virgil Graham 5th. Lucas Chowning 6th position. Cameron Higgins in the 7th position. Alex Bergeron in 8th. Joe Litterillo in 9th. Jordan Wesley in 10th. Petey Bryan will finish in the 11th position. Philip Diaz in 12th. Randall Carter in 13th. Brandon Mullis in 14th. And David Heilman will finish out the field in 15th position. And I gotta say, we had some extraordinarily good running. We've got one to interview, Randy. That is Austin Selman. Let's see if we can get him into the booth at number 2 machine. Having a fairly good run here at Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. And now the driver, well, he's with us now in Austin. Wasn't able to take the W today, but I gotta almost say no surprise here because I just don't know who has the speed for Jacob Leverstein. Yeah, and I gotta say, Williams Grove, first paperclip we've seen of this season. Normally we see a bowl, or at the very least, kind of a speedway oval. But we've got, either way, good running here at the paperclip, I have to say. We did have that double caution at the start of the race, but once we got that through, just kind of take me through how the track kind of developed into it. Because it seems to me like we've had this season, perhaps that we were a little undertuned, I'd have to say, for track wear, because I'd like to see the tracks a little bit more worn out. But it seemed to me that it took a while for the track to really get to the point where you could really wheel that late model. Now, either way, I have to say just a congratulations on the 2nd position. Yes.
Cam, listen to your producer. We're having some technical issues right now.
They can listen to us. Hugo says he can hear us. You just can't hear him.
Right, but you're talking.
I know.
Either way,
I know. I was about to wrap it up.
Some technical issues are going on. Sorry about that, guys. Someone needs to learn to listen to the producer. Austin, for some reason, you're not coming through on Hugo's side. We'll see if we can get that sorted. But sorry about that. Hope to see you run strong if you're running the sprint cars, though, Austin. So good luck to that in a few minutes. Cam, why don't you listen?
Because, as I was about to say before I was rudely interrupted, as Austin was saying, having the good run, as well as getting the track worn in. But either way, yeah, we'll probably see him in just a few moments' time. But either way, 16 minutes of running here in the late models. We're going to take a quick commercial break here at RaceSpot TV. We will be back with World of Outlaws Craftsman Sprint Cars to run here at Williams Grove. No surprise there. It's an easy trip. We don't have to go very far. We can hit the concession stand and come on back, and we hope you do the same, as we've got World of Outlaws Craftsman Sprint Car Outlaws to run. It is going to be fun. 410 wing sprint cars. We hope you stick with us here at Williams Grove Speedway on the docket for the doubleheader for the second time this season. We'll be right back.
I actually, really enjoy dirt racing. Feels good to get in the car, and we have, great cars and engines and things at KKR, so it's nice to drive a fast sprint car.
Couple of separate lines developing, three wide action on a turn two. Craig Kinzer, Casey Kane, and Kieran Pittman going at it.
I think the differences between, NASCAR and the sprint races on dirt is just a much different mindset. The way you drive your cars, the setup, the feel you're looking for. I think one of the hardest things to tell as a fan is when you're watching a race, whether it's a NASCAR race, a dirt race, is just what's really going on in the car. With iRacing, you can get the way that the track's changing, which they've done a great job in how the track changes throughout the night or throughout the race, just to try to capture it and let the fans play it and realize, like, man, there's actually a lot going on, and you can't always see that when you watch a race. So I think it's pretty neat. It's, enjoyable for me, but at the end of the day, it's actually much of a simulation, and there's a lot of ways that you can learn from that. And early on, it was neat to look at the Cup tracks that I was going to, places that I had never been. So I think it kind of gives you a head start leading into a weekend. It's pretty real life, and that's pretty neat.
Get ready, going green. Green, green, green.
iRacing. You wanted the best, you got them for abreast. Often imitated, never duplicated. The greatest show on dirt, the world of Outlaws. Welcome back. Well, we've turned the lights on, but then we turned the sun on, so that cured most problems, because now we can see everything. We are back at Williams Grove Speedway, and, well, we have rolled out the 410 wing sprint cars. Plenty of time for everyone to get comfortable in their racing machines. We have got yet another time around this Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania circuit. Of course, I'm Cameron Walsh. That's Randy Chenowth. That's Hugo Louis. Let's see what we can do here. Top of the board as far as practice goes. It's a Selman, Randy, but it is not Austin Selman. It's actually Dylan Selman. Bob King's also there. Dylan Sharman. Haven't seen those names in some time, but I gotta say, we'll see what happens. And of course, Philip Diaz, he's here as well. He's running the triple.
Yeah, a number of our drivers that have been in the previous events and have carried over into this one, and this is going to be an exciting one. I love the sprint cars around this Williams Grove racetrack. His qualifying time starting to trickle in. Alex Bergeron, first time in, he goes to a 17.276, quickest of everyone. Everyone else starting to trickle through. 17.3 from Bob King, and Austin Selman to the 17.4.
Yeah, so plenty of qualifying lap times coming in. For everything that we've had there with Jacob in late models, well, it's Alex Bergeron in sprint cars. It's a 17.2. No Tim Ryan tonight, which is a bit of a bummer, but Williams Grove, perhaps not his circuit, or alternatively, maybe he was just busy. That can certainly happen on a Friday night, but you know what? We are certainly happy that you have decided to take time out of your busy schedule to make hashtag Dirt Night a part of your Friday night consumptions here on iRacing Live and RaceSpot TV. We had a good race for Red Bull GRC. Great race for late models. I would have to say perhaps the GRC race, Randy, a bit better than the late model race here today. We'll see how the sprint cars go, but I gotta say, if the late models are bringing out cautions, makes me kind of concerned for these 410 wing sprint cars. They are certainly open wheel.
Yeah, well, things are already heating up in qualifying cams. We saw the Selmans for a moment. They were the top of the charts, but Dylan Sharman, someone we've seen, he's been running the mid-packs really in these these Friday races. I'm still used to saying Mondays, but Dylan Sharman, he goes to the top with 17.212, representing the Aussies here. So maybe it's a down under. It's not the Pennsylvania posse. It's a down under. We need to come up with a nickname for those guys.
I believe they have a saying. It's Fear the Roo, but I don't know how you can enunciate into that. Yeah, I don't. That's a team. No, I thought.
Yeah, Fear the Roo, the team.
It might be a team, but I think it might also be a thing. We also have Doug Berryman here, which makes me pretty happy. He's a very good prototype driver. Obviously, I don't think prototype skills translate very much into an open wheel 410 wing sprint car, but either way, qualifying times are in. Normally I would run through the list, but you know what though, this is the thing that we've got with this new season and this new 2018 season. We ain't got to worry about that because we've got heat racing to sort out all of these positions. 2 heats. Then we are going to have our I would almost say consolation. We have not seen them, but we will have our finale. So let's take a look at the grid. It's going to be 9 cars in the first grid, and I believe 8 cars in the next one. So let's take a look here at our starting grid for heat number 1 to start us gently into these 410 wing sprint cars. And by gently, I mean it's going to take us by the neck and wrangle us around this William Grove circuit, because there ain't no gentle with an open wheel sprint car. It's Dylan Sharman. He's going to be starting first position. Dylan Selman, he's going to be starting his outside. Alex Bergeron, Bob King, Trent Gosley, Joe Quinn, Joe Littorello, Ryan Mayer, and Todd Brandt. As far as where people are from, we have got, I think, 4 Australians, and we do have 2 Pennsylvanians. We've got Corey Wenzel and Joe Littorello, as well as Dakota Kuhn. So we have 3. So we've got a couple of guys from the Pennsylvania posse here representing here at Williams Grove.
And for those of you outside of the dirt world that not be familiar, the Pennsylvania Posse is a group of drivers. They race these Pennsylvania circuits pretty much every week, week in, week out, and this is probably the only grouped area that can take it to the national guys and take victories from them. But Randy,
don't say that. You'll make all the people in Indiana mad.
Oh, okay, all right. I'm sorry. I didn't know there was a Indiana. I didn't realize this was like a whatever movie I plan on referencing that I can't think of off the top of my head. It's like Fight Club, only with gangs. Either way, Dylan Sharman, he's getting ready to take that green, and I have to say, Dylan Semmelman, he's pretty excited. He's popped about 4 wheelies on the backstretch.
Yeah, Dylan looks pretty anxious to get to this one and take it to Mr. Dylan Sharman here. So it's an all Dylan front row, and interesting spellings of it. One is the normal way to spell it. It's on the pole, and Dylan is the let's say the more liberal usage of the English alphabet for that one, starting on the outside of the front row. But yeah, the Williams Grove 410 sprint cars. It's always. This is really what Williams Grove is known for the big 410 winged cars to run here in the Pennsylvania Posse, like you said. This should be an exciting heat number 1.
I'm pretty excited. Bob King was about ready to make this a 3-wide salute, which we are not doing, Mr. King. Slot back in, which he does. I will say, will we see the crowding? Because the late model cars, very forceful on their crowding. These 410 wing sprint cars, not so much. Dylan Sharman, he hangs to the inside. This is the spot where we saw that notorious start that was absolutely insane with Tim Ryan and the entirety of the gang last season. But we are green here with 410 wing sprint cars. World of Outlaws Craftsman sprint cars takes corners number 1 and 2. We are good for heat number 1.
Dylan Sharman has a good clean breakaway here. It's not a big gap over Dylan Selman and Alex Bergeron, but it's enough to work with here as he comes to the end of lap number 1 around this half-mile racetrack in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania, into 1 and 2 for the second time, and second and third still lurking back there, but Sharman seems comfortable in that race lead. He goes to the middle a little bit lower than the drivers behind him through 3 and 4, and it seems to work for him. He stretches out about a car length down the front straight.
Yeah, so we've got a good 1, 2, 3 right here. Bob King, he tries the inside line with his very chrome wheels as Alex Bergeron cuts the nose off of him like that. As that number 1 machine looking comfortable. Well, he's tried the inside, he's tried the outside. He is all over the rear of Dylan Silverman, Dylan Sharman, though. However, he seems to have a comfortable lead right now as you have got just your 1, 2. You got 1, then 1, 2, 3. As here comes Bergeron on the inside. Will he slide all the way up the track? It's very easy to do. No, he'll control the car. Everyone else seems spaced out except for this battle.
Bergeron taking the fight to that number 4 machine of Dylan Selman is Dylan Sharman. He's probably having flashbacks to his Cadillac days. Dylan was once upon a time one of the aces on this simulator in that Cadillac World Challenge spec car that we have. He won a lot of championships in that, won a lot of prizes from Cadillac, and this is the first time in a while I've seen him leading one of these big events here. I know he's very prominent in the Australian scene, but not seen him bit in one of these international races in a while. The 1 machine of Alex Bergeron, he slides up, pulls the slider on Dylan Selman, and Selman gets to drive back down to the bottom, but very narrow entry for Selman here into 1 and 2 with 2 to go. Bob King, he's gonna pounce. Dylan's gonna fall back to 4th.
Everybody taking the opportunistic attacks there. Bob King, that was a great heads-up racing with that number 7 machine. He saw that perhaps Dylan Selman was not going to have the exit that he would have liked, and he dove right on in there, and he does it again. Perhaps he's hooked up, perhaps he's set that car up, and he's almost got the position. He's dragged along now. That number 7 machine looking comfortable on the inside line as the race is going to come to conclusion. Heat number 1, Bob King, he ends up sorting it out. Dylan Sharman, he's going to take the victory. Bob King, on the last lap in the last set of corners, is going to take away position number 2. Alex Bergeron finishes 3rd, Dylan Selman 4th, Joe Quinn 5th, Joe Litterillo in 6th, Trent Gosley will finish 7th, Todd Brand in 8th. And it was Ryan Mayer finishing that out. Grid 2 is starting to set up, but before we get them rolling, Randy, if that was the finale, if that was the finish, that would have been a sensational finish. But thankfully, we've got another 2 races to compete to it. But I gotta say, that's a pretty high bar to set.
Yeah, that was a fantastic run there from Bob King to set those cars up in front of him. Both Dylan and Alex Bergeron, those guys very, very quick in their own right, super quick out here in qualifying, and to set them up the way he did and make those moves stick, that was a couple of the best moves I've seen in this winged 410 sprint car. And Bob, that was very, very well done.
Yeah, very heads-up driving. He took the advantage when he saw it. He saw that we were racing for position, didn't want to. Normally, you perhaps would like to back off, let things develop. Nope, he rolled right on in. Grid number 2 is rolling off, and Lewis Hewitt will be leading this heat. Austin Sullivan for the second time now tonight. Once in the late models, now again in the sprint cars, will be starting outside for a heat. David Heilman be starting third. Corey Wenzel in fourth. Philip Diaz, well, he's ran all 3 races. He's going to start in fifth. Doug Berryman will be starting in sixth. Dakota Kuhn, one of the Pennsylvania guys, will be starting in seventh. Josh Phillips will be starting in the 8th position. And I'm pretty sure Josh Phillips, that's the same Josh Phillips that was in the late model cars. So we'll see what he can do here. Lewis Hewitt, though, his TTL machine is turquoise and white. Will he be able to perform as Dylan Sharman did? And we will see here. It's Lewis Hewitt, Austin Silliman. These 2 rad machines hooked up, ready to rock and roll. Somebody's dancing on the inside there. That's Heilman. These guys, Randy, they get a little antsy.
Yeah, it can be a little bit nerve-wracking running around in these cars under caution, because it's just so... The cars are stressful to drive under caution, I almost want to say, because they have so much stagger. They just feel weird. And it might feel odd to say, but they just feel more comfortable at speed. And because of that, you'll see these guys chomping at the bit. One of the only cars in the world where it feels better under speed than it does slow running under caution. But Pace Truck, it's about to come down on pit road, and Lewis Hewitt's going to let him loose.
Yeah, there's only one thing these 410 wing sprint cars are set to do, and you're about to see them unfold. The throttle revs up, and we are green. We are at heat number 2. Austin Silliman, he lifted his front wheels. That gives Lewis Hewitt the whole shot. We are green for heat number 2 at Williams Grove Speedway.
Yeah, big wheel stand there from Austin, and he's lucky to keep that thing rolling. Very easy to throw that car to the inside when that happens with all that stagger, but he gets a big run of momentum on the top side. I think Austin's going to have an opportunity into 1 and 2. Does he work the top side of the racetrack? Lewis running a little bit more in the middle, and Austin gets another run down this back straightaway. If he can get that car down to the inside, he's going to have an opportunity. There he goes, big slider into 3 and 4, comes up in front of the 6th machine of Lewis Hewitt. He's got the race lead just at the line.
Hewitt grabbed too much grip off the exit of 3 and 4, and now he has shot himself up the track. He's not comfortable at all. That allowed David Heilman. Heilman is now, he wants more. He wants the lead of the race. The number 3 car, he rolls to the inside. The number 2 machine of Selman, he is hanging tough on the outside. Heilman, he'll have to slide in. No, he was not able to get it. He got 1 position, but certainly not 2. Lewis Hewitt, he's got plenty of time to get this thing sorted out. He's got 8 laps. We're halfway through this heat number 2. Corey Wenzel, he's looking comfortable. It's Diaz, Kuhn, Phillips, Berryman. So everyone's going to the feature, so no need to worry about that. But either way, it's Selman, Heilman, and Hewitt. And I got to say, for Heilman, I think he's all set. He wants to take it to Austin Selman.
That he does. Lewis Hewitt, interesting to note, coming off turn number 4, caught that outside wall, and he lost a little bit of ground to Corey Wenzel. So look maybe for Lewis Hewitt to drop another spot, as Austin Selman still has that mirror full of David Heilman. They go into 1 and 2, 3 machine to the bottom, not a slider, but just working that low side of the racetrack, comes off down onto the back straightaway, and Heilman still lurking back there. Selman not quite gotten a breakaway just yet. Through 3 and 4 they will come. Popsicle sticks in the air, 2 to go, and Selman's opened a little bit of a gap through 3 and 4 that time.
Yeah, lap time's coming in. He's about 1/10 quicker. So Austin Silliman, for whatever he didn't have over Jacob in the late models, he has here in the sprint cars, which shouldn't be a surprise. That's your reigning champion of the World of Outlaws Craftsman Sprint Car Series here on iRacing as far as that's concerned. He will take the white flag. Heilman, he'll continue to run the inside line. Cars, I think, are just going to run their lines. They're pretty spaced out right now, so it might as well be comfortable. Might as well get yourself set and ready to go for the feature race, because Semmelman, he is going to be coming off a corner number 4. He'll there at Williams Grove Speedway. Good lap times for Austin Semmelman. He will take the checkered for heat number 2. Heilman, great maneuver. And for Lewis Hewitt, well, he started first. He finished third. He is not going to be happy about that. Everyone else basically finished where they started. And now, well, Randy, we've got some good times a-coming, because we have got a 17 sprint car feature here on an extraordinarily small Williams Grove.
Well, it's not small in length, but it feels a lot tighter than its size. If you looked at the number, it would be like, oh, that's a pretty big racetrack. When you get out there and run, this place feels really, really tight. But Lewis Hewitt, you're absolutely right. He was the biggest mover in that heat race, and he, unfortunately for him, moved the wrong way. But 17 cars, 410 wing sprints, quick cars, very, very fast around this place. The heat races have been amazing, both of them. This is the best running that we've had thus far this season for these 410 wing sprint cars. I think they may have heard what we said about them at the top of the show cam, or going into the super late model race. I think they want to show those guys up this time out.
And you've jinxed it. So we can anticipate then, let's see, we've got 17 cars running, divide by 2, and a couple of more, about an 18 car pileup going into 1 now, courtesy of Mr. Randy Chenowth. But either way, let's take a look at the starting grid as the cars are rolling away here for 2 pace laps around this Williams Grove circuit. We've got Dylan Sharman, it's Austin Semmelman, your front row, Bob King, David Heilman, Alex Bergeron, Lewis Hewitt, Dylan Semmelman, Corey Wetzel, Joe Quinn, Philip Diaz, Joe Letterillo, Dakota Kuhn, Trent Gosley, Josh Phillips, Todd Brandt, Doug Berryman, Ryan Mayer. And I gotta say, Randy, very, very quickly, probably this is the hardest track to start at going into 1. It is a 1-lane track unless you're fighting for position. And at this, when the green flag drops, obviously no holds bar, I think this is probably the most difficult place to get a start.
Yeah, we've seen a couple big pileups here. The only other track that I think is equally as difficult, if not more so, is going to be Volusia. Volusia is a very, just the way that the track is geometrically coming off turn 4, Volusia is very, very difficult. I've tapped the inside wall at Volusia and doing my own racing. We saw that a couple seasons back. A couple big mistakes happened there, but you're absolutely right. Williams Grove, when it's like this, you want to be around the bottom, but it's interesting to note, it's a little slicked off going into 1 and 2. It's not that slick going into 3 and 4 down low, so that bottom groove cam may not be that strong. It's possible the likes of Selman and Heileman up on that top row, they might be in the catbird seat on this one. Sharman might need to try to get up top quick.
Will Sharman put his elbows out and force the car up top, or will he hesitate? Let's see what the Mississippi countdown is. The iRacing official pace truck pulls off. It's 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, off and away he goes, and he tries to push Sullivan out to the top. Sullivan beats him to the line. We are green here for the feature race at Williams Grove Speedway. The Nerf bar gets shoved to the number 2 car, and Bob King, he ever the opportunist, he'll take the lead.
Bob made a fantastic move to get himself up into this position, and he runs the top side. 3 machine, though, of David Heileman. He wants to take that race lead. 4 different leaders. It's a 7 machine. He's around. Big incident. No. Sharman's involved. 5 is in this one. Half the field almost taken out in this one. And what was looking to be so amazing, maybe some egos got in the way, people not lifting when they should. We just lost a lot of cars.
I started watching the replay before I watched the rest of the rack, partly because I didn't want to. So, all right, basically David Heilman got away with it, and Dylan Sharman, he made contact with Bob King coming off the corner there. And, you know, no joke, I'm not going to, you know, make any...
Bob spun like a top. That's the analytical, scientific way to put it.
That's the only way you can describe that. The initial contact, I mean, it's pretty debatable, but... For whatever it is, Sharman, he ended up taking a spin. Bob King, he discovered what it is entirely like to live the life of a fidget spinner, which I can imagine is not a good one.
He got to see what it's like to be Davey Hamilton.
Yeah, right. And I honestly, you know what, though? I think we only collected 2 cars. No joke. Out of all of the damage that I thought we were going to have, I think we seriously only collected 2 cars. And there was an incident between Dylan Sharman and Trent Gosley. I want to see if we can get a replay here, because this has probably got to be one of the most laziest incidents I think I have ever seen. Dylan Sharman, he reverses up the track. He starts proceeding forward, and then he just gets punted by the number 14 of Trent Gosley. And I can't really blame Trent, because it's actually very hard to steer going into 1 at Williams Grove. Many a car that is started on the inside row has actually hit the inside pit wall, Randy, but I got to say, that could have been a lot worse.
And it could have been worse, but, you know, he's saying that they're completely fine with how this went, and they're completely, you know, they think everything went great. Mr. David Heileman is a happy camper out there in that race lead. 4th to 1st. Also, Dylan Zillman, he jumps 4 spots. He's in 3rd from 7th.
Yeah, great run in there. Unfortunately, Dylan Sharman, who was looking so promising, though, he didn't have a good start, but you know that was going to bloom into a massive fire for him. But either way, unfortunate, he's going to be out. The iRacing official pace truck looks to the safety pit lane. World of Outlaws Craftsman Sprint Car Series comes to take the green one more time. Lap number 5 of 30, and we will see who takes it, as there's a little bit of bumping and grinding going into quarter number 1, but David Heilman is going to be your leader.
David Heilman's away clean. Austin Selman second. Dylan Selman slotted into that third spot. You also have Lewis Hewitt and Alex Bergeron. Those two are the first side-by-side battle as Alex gets a good run down there on the bottom, trying to work into that fourth spot. Still side-by-side through 1 and 2. The Selmans in front of them sort of holding each other up. They're not each other up, but those two cars. They got one car slow up in the wall. That was Corey Wenzel. He got into it. Yellow flies. Didn't look like a big contact, but not where Corey would have wanted to be.
Boy, I gotta say, they are quick on the trigger with these yellow flags. That machine was stopped for but a hair's breadth, and it was all set and ready to go. I don't think there was any issues at all with that machine. We did not need to throw that yellow flag. Normally, I have to say, Randy, actually, they are pretty late with the yellow flag. We can normally have a car have an entire wreck and manage to pull their machine off the track. We won't pull a yellow yet. We'll pull a yellow for that, though. Perhaps it's just because of how Williams Grove goes as a track instead of a bowl, I'm not sure. But for David Heilman, well, the stress comes up a little bit. He had a 6/10 of a second lead. Now, well, that's all gone.
Yeah, it's all gone, and we're going to be restacking this field up once again. And it's been a physical one, Kim. The heats were really good, and this feature has shown that there's a lot of quick guys in this field. I think there's about 4 drivers still running that can win this race, and we've lost a couple of them as well along the way. So it's a very, very competitive night tonight here in the World of Outlaw Sprint Cars. Hopefully we can get this last 20 or so laps going under green, because if we do, my oh my, it'll be a good one.
My question to the jury is, has David Heilman won a top split broadcast race here on RaceSpot TV, iRacing Live? Has Dylan Semmelman won? I gotta ask that question as well, because in your top 4, well, we've got David Heilman, Austin Semmelman, Dylan Semmelman, then Alex Bergeron, Lewis Hewitt. I'll give you the top 5. As lights go out on the pace truck, we are going to go green next time by. We are on lap 10 of 30 to 20 laps to go. Heilman, he's revved the engine up. Bergeron, he's hovering up on that top side. He's lurking. He wants to get... Now, this is the track that we had starting malarkey. And I do mean starting malarkey. Probably, I have to admit, one of the worst green flag starts I have ever seen to finish a race. Hopefully, we will not have that. David Heilman, he slowly builds the revs. He waits, gives it a good 2 Mississippi count, I'll call it. That number 3 machine, he takes off. Austin Selman does not have the start that he had that last time. And we are green once again here for the World of Outlaws Craftsman Sprint Car Series.
David's got a nice clean jump here with a little bit of a gap over Austin Selman. That's what he would have wanted. The 4 machine of Dylan, he's fighting with Alex Bergeron for that 3rd spot through 3 and 4. Alex, top side, reigns supreme as they work into 1 and 2. The 1, very aggressive down to the bottom, takes that away from Dylan to maybe take that move away, but he's going to fight with Austin, the brother, through corner number 2 and into 3 and 4. The 1 machine, he looks hooked up down low.
Yeah, will they make that number 1 machine comfortable? It looks pretty already. Slots in behind Austin Selman, but it is only for a moment's time, as he will give the brake a little bit of a tap. Perhaps, I'm not sure, but it looks to me like he actually has the car hooked up enough to where he was able to make the position. He didn't even have to force it. He'll hang the outside line just to take the overspeed from Austin Selman, and he's going to take that inside line again. I'm telling you right now, going down the start-finish line, will he? No, he will not. Austin Selman tries to hook up. Dylan Selman launches the car to the outside. David Heilman, he has checked out. I just checked the point standings. It is Alex Bergeron, Austin Selman, and David Heilman. That is 1, 2, 3 for your point standings, and there's like 30 points between all 3 of them. So really, your top 3 right now in the overall point standing is running in your top 4. Randy, that is good running. We are halfway through this feature race.
15 down, 15 to go as David Heilman, he's opened up a 1-second lead over Alex Bergeron. Austin and Dylan Selman, they fight wheel to wheel. The brothers really duking it out here. Meanwhile, Lewis Hewitt lurking in the background in that turquoise and white TTL machine through 1 and 2 here. Now officially in the second half of this motor race, in towards 3 and 4. 3 cars all scrapping it out for the final podium spot. Alex Bergeron, he's sort of comfortable in his own little island right now.
Yeah, so right now it's David Heilman, and the track is falling apart. There's no other way to say it. The amount of off throttle I'm hearing on these machines, it's almost like the engine's cutting on the entry to the corner on David Heilman's number 3 machine. He has got a 1.3 second lead over Alex Bergeron. and that has not changed over the last lap. Bergeron, he's running at the very high side, the very top of the cushion. And then you've got 2.4 seconds to Dylan Selman. Then you've got Austin Selman and Lewis Hewitt are pretty close. And if you're Lewis Hewitt, well, you got to start wondering perhaps when he can start working through the field right now. But either way, good battle going on between a couple of cars. It's the number 17 and the 12 machine. A little bit further back, that's Doug Berryman and Dakota Kuhn.
And these guys are having a very good scrap. You also have Josh Phillips involved in this one. Slow car. That's Ryan Meyer down the back straightaway. He's going to come to a stop. No, he's going to bounce off the inside wall and keep going. But Ryan Meyer, he threaded a needle getting down to that inside wall. Almost got caught up in that incident. Well, almost caused an incident, rather. But my, oh my, we're lucky to keep running. Is keeping track of the lap times. Bergeron, he's been looking up and down the racetrack cam for speed. He's looked high, he's looked low. But David Heilman, he's still stretching out. Then again, that time by, a tenth went Alex's way.
Yeah, and I don't think a tenth is going to help him here. It's 1.4 seconds with 10 laps to go. That, I don't think, is enough lap time for really affect the race here. So either way, that car of Ryan Meyer has retired. So he's gotten off, but I gotta say, we've got some good battle in here going on between Lewis Hewitt and Austin Selman. He's trying to cover his his position. He started in second. He's now finding himself in the fourth position. Will Lewis Hewitt do a little bit of an outside bump for Austin Selman? They'll go wheel to wheel, as this Williams Grove circuit is so easy to hit that outside wall. I can tell you, I've done it a lot of times. But Lewis Hewitt, though, he is trying to find in the dink in the armor that he can really get through. Where can Lewis Hewitt put his 410 wing sprint car to where he can actually make the pass? Not sure. We've got some 6 laps to go.
Still very tight between these two, as Austin still trying to hold off Lewis Hewitt. But after what happened to Dylan, you know that Lewis wants to snag another spot just for those Australian bragging rights here as they work themselves now down on towards this front straightaway. Only a handful of laps left in this one here tonight. Into 1 and 2 they come. Both drivers work the top side of the racetrack and pretty much mirroring each other. Cam, a little bit of speed. I think Lewis is slightly quicker, but I don't know if he's got enough speed to make the move. And that inside line has really gone away the last handful of laps. Everyone pretty much running up around the top right now, except for David Heilman, interestingly enough. He's running the middle, but I don't know if the dirt is good and clean down there for Lewis.
Well, Heilman, I've been following his lap time. He's running the immediate inside line. It was an 18.1, and Alex Bergeron ran a 17.9. So, I mean, it's just interesting to see how Heilman is just continuing to run that inside line where Bergeron is starting to catch up. It's now almost down to 1 second now with only 3 laps to go. I don't think that's enough time, as it is down to 1 second flat, but either way, you've still got some battling going on here. I have to say, I think between it was the cars of Philip Diaz and Joe Quinn, but even they've managed to separate themselves out. So, Randy, we're at that time of the race where everybody has managed to at least separate themselves out a couple car lengths.
You know, we've had a long enough run where these guys have gotten themselves somewhat sorted. And you're right, Cam. David's been sort of struggling down there on the bottom. I think he just feels comfortable down there, though, through 3 and 4. It was 0.3 of a second disadvantage last time through. Again, David goes low. White flag flies, and Alex made up ground that time through as well.
It's down to half a second just like that over the last 3 laps. I think Heilman, no matter what, he knows he's got this covered. He is not concerned in the least. He just wanted to get his car to the line. That is exactly what's going to happen. He actually loses off the corner. He loses off the corner. I don't think he had enough fuel to finish the race. Alex Bergeron, he's going to take it. He is going to steal it. He's robbed it. And Dylan Selman will finish in 2nd position. Austin Selman will finish in 3rd. Lewis Hewitt will finish in 5th. The car is rolling across. David Heilman, he'll come home in 4th position. What happened to that machine? Did he not have enough fuel? But there was enough cautions. How many cautions was he planning for? Oh my goodness me, that is crazy, Randy.
We've seen this a couple times in these cars, and it's caused a little bit of controversy. I think, David, it's a strategy that a lot of people do. That you want to have these sprint cars as light as you can, and some people, they really like to gamble. They like to all in on green and say, I know I'm going to have cautions to work with. I know I'm going to be able to make it to the end. And for David Heilman, that little gamble just cost him a win, and instead of coming home with a big victory within about 200 yards of start finish, he ends up in 4th.
And to me, that is just, to me, it's nuts because we had, what, 2-3 cautions? I could have swore we had at least 2 cautions. Maybe we only had the one. No, we had 2, I believe. But either way, I gotta say, that is just, that's pretty crazy to me. Either way, let's take a look at the official finishing results here for the World of Outlaws Craftsman Sprint Car Series. They ran here at Mechanicsburg, PA. They turned on the big light bulbs. We were under the daylight sun. It was Alex Bergeron, of all things, Bergeron pulling it out of the hat in the very last moment on the very last corner, as he will take it over with 8/10 over Dylan Selman. Austin Selman will finish in the 3rd position. David Heileman in 4th. Lewis Hewitt will finish in the 5th position. It's Philip Diaz, Joe Quinn, Josh Phillips, Doug Berryman, Corey Wenzel, Dakota Kuhn, Ryan Mayer, Joe Letterello, Dylan Sharman, Bob King, Trent Gosley, and Todd Brandt. And I'm chuckling because, Randy, I don't think we've ever seen that happen.
We know that in big 410 wing sprint cars, fuel is always an issue. When they run the big races at places like Eldora and Williams Grove, because in the real world, of course, the cautions don't count. It's not uncommon for the big 35, 40 lap features for the cars to have to get refueled. At Knoxville, they generally do a comp yellow about midway. They also do it for the King's Royal, generally about after 20 laps of racing. They bring the cars down and they refill them up with gas. So fuel, always a concern in these sorts of cars, and it's something that I've seen a lot of, Cam. A lot of these guys, they like to push it right to the upper limit on their fuel count. You know, expecting yellows, they want to be as light as they possibly can. And I think the risk really isn't worth it. And I think David Heileman, he just found out.
I have never thought that the risk is worth it. It's what, 8 pounds for a gallon of fuel? It can't be worth that much. Either way, we have got Alex Bergeron. And we have got Austin Selman again, take 2. We'll see if maybe, hopefully that works. But either way, we have got Alex Bergeron. Alex, first of all, I guess I gotta say congratulations because, well, you've managed to take the victory here at Williams Grove.
Yeah, I did. I'm kind of surprised, but I saw David was fast, so I was gonna put the pressure on him and run as fast as I could on the top side, and I was digging on the top side. I was really quick, and I saw he was running the bottom, so I thought he was gonna run out of fuel, and which he did. So you know, last corner, you know, racing stuff.
Well, hanging in it. I mean, didn't give up at all. I gotta say, Williams Grove, it's a little bit weird. We were under the daylight sun. I'm not a big fan of that, but either way, Williams Grove, it delivers kind of again. We had a couple of caution at the start there. It didn't really get that well. We had, I think it was 2 cautions. And at the end of the day, though, once those cautions got out of the way, we had an absolutely fantastic race here at Williams Grove. Perhaps the track is not is set as far as we would like it as far as wear usage goes, but you know what, between the heats and the feature, I have to say overall good day for you.
Yeah, in qualifying, that was not my best effort in qualifying, and you know, I went to the heat and tried to do my best. Good race with Bob and Dylan for second place, but the first couple of laps in the race, I was lucky not to get involved in anything, because maybe it would have been different in the race, but you know, it went good for me, and that was good. So the top side was pretty good on the top, like it was just the cushion was there, and so good racing. Me and David, I mean, I was catching him, so I was in it though. It was very good.
Yeah, and you did run the late models, but you know what? It took the victory here and the 410 wing sprint cars. Anyone you would like to give a shout out to, a hello to, a happy new year to? Of course, this is the first race of 2018. But either way, the floor is yours. Congratulations on your feature win.
Yeah, thank you. Like, good year for you guys. Like, happy new year, and thanks for broadcasting. It's always fun to see the broadcast every week. And I would like thanks the Drill Spill and Ashton Crowder for the sponsorship, and not real sponsorships, my oval team. So thank you for them. Thanks to Myro, Team VLR for the team, and as always for you guys to broadcast, and for Austin finishing second late model and third tonight. So good job to him as well.
And we are happy to report that, in fact, the all-blue machine has been traded in for the all-black machine. So, yes, your new paint scheme did make the broadcast. So, Alex, thank you so very much for hopping on the booth. We will see you in 1 week's time.
Thank you.
So, with that, we are going to try something. Randy, are you ready?
Sure.
All right, we're going to get Austin Selman in here, and we're going to see if by the power and the magic of this TeamSpeak server, if we can hear him. Hello, Austin. First off, we have to do the check. Is everything good? Say hello.
Hey, what's up?
All right, we'll see if... Okay, Hugo's happy he could hear him. We're going to redo the late model. No, we're not. Anyways, all right, with that, Randy, the floor is yours. You are standing by with our third place finisher of Austin Selman.
Yeah, I'm stood by with Austin. Austin, what a physical night of racing for you. The late model race there's a lot of beating and banging there, and then you come in this one, and there's a lot of contact. You were involved with this one. How's worn out are you after tonight? A lot of physical motorsports here in the world of Outlaw. Both aspects of it here around Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania's Williams Grove.
No, it started in the first turn for me. I had a good start and I ran into the fence, and then and then when they tangled on the front stretch there, and I went underneath Bob King, it tore off my whole front end. So I was just hanging on to the end. I had nothing after lap 1, so pretty frustrating because I felt like I had a car to win, but you know, that's how it goes lately for me.
Well, there are a number of you that definitely had cars to win. Bob was definitely someone who had a car to win, and also one of the people who got caught up in that incident you speak of, Dylan Sharman. He definitely had a car that could have won tonight. So unfortunately, that big incident early took out a couple of very competitive names. But you were one of the drivers that did both of the races tonight, both the late model and the sprint car. You were of everyone, you did the best. Across both. A couple of people may have did better in one or the other, but you were definitely the best average for sure. What is the what's sort of the differences in terms of approach between those two cars here? They're completely different. You know, the two cars aren't anywhere like one another except for the fact they have 4 tires and a motor. What are the differences you have to take though in driving them around a place like Williams Grove?
Yeah, I think they're the most different here, honestly. The late models never run up by the fence like that, really. So you have to really stop coming in the corner in the late models basically, and here in the sprint cars you're on the throttle a bit more but on the edge more, so really different, and both fun if you race around the right people, but yeah, both fun.
Now, we've seen these sprint cars go to Lanier in the past, the shortest track currently until we get some of the other tracks that we know are coming, the likes of Limaland, Kokomo, and eventually the Chili Bowl, but we have not seen that big super late model around Lanier. That it's a very, very big car, and it's, like it just said, the smallest track we currently have on the sim. What kind of crowded racing can we expect next week?
Yeah, if you thought you saw physical racing tonight, you should wait for next week. It's tight quarters, and everybody will be running each other over probably, and we'll go race.
Well, thanks for joining us, Austin. Congratulations on running strong both in both the late models and the sprints tonight. We didn't get a chance to congratulate for that a little bit earlier on. But before we let you go, Austin, any shout-outs, and who would you like to thank after another successful Friday Night Dirt Night?
For sure. Dirt Division, Matt Hill for painting my sprint car there, and Team VLR, and you guys for putting this on for sure. So it was definitely a fun night.
That was Austin Selman. Cam, back over to you.
A fun night that for some reason ends in the day. Either way, late models are going to Lanier, which is definitely going to be interesting, and the sprint cars to Volusia, where hopefully, Randy, we can avoid the ghost of Volusia's past, if you know what I mean, because I think I have to say it's the only place I've seen where half the field has picked up a black flag at the starting grid. But either way, Randy, any last comments that we've had on the entirety of Dirt Night? It's been good running, I have to say. Another fine chapter in this this new iRacing expedition, and I have to say, been pretty happy to have it.
Yeah, I think for this 2018 season 1 season, it technically started in 2017, but this was the best overall night of racing we had. Very, very good race in the Rallycross cars. The late model race, not quite living up to what we've seen in the past few weeks, but it was still very good. And this is one of the better sprint car races that we've seen thus far. The feature was a little anticlimactic, but both of the heat races were phenomenal. And even then, the feature event did not really let down, I would say. Drama up and down from drop of the green to checker. David, I feel so bad to see that happen, but it does, I still get frustrated when I see people do that. We didn't mention this. He only finished 4th by 0.03 of a second. So he coasted to just barely getting into that 4th spot. So almost lost out on that and just basically tallied up the top 5. So very, very entertaining night, though, thus far.
Yeah, and of course you can follow along with the hashtag Dirt Night on the old place that uses hashtags, and of course we're all over the Facebook, and of course got to give a shout out to the actual Red Bull Global Rallycross Series in real life. They have been putting in a pretty strong Herculean effort with us, and we are very appreciative of that indeed. They do all sorts of fun things where they do weekly liveries, which we haven't seen our RaceSpot TV one, which makes me sad, but I also know that ours was made like the first night, so but either way, let's give our congratulations to Mitchell de Jong, congratulations to Jacob in the late models, congratulations to Alex in our sprint cars, and Hugo, I think it's about time we hit that music up. Okay, we're going with a different set of music. You can, of course, follow along RaceSpot TV, iRacingLive. We're pretty much on almost all week. Either way, we hope you have a great evening. And hey, next weekend, we are going to be doing the Roar before the 24, the Mustang, the Kia, and the MX-5. You want to have some fun. Oh, that is going to be a show for the ages, but we hope you follow along. And of course, that will be preceded on Friday night by our next hashtag Dirt Night. So thank you so very much for myself, Cameron Walsh, Randy Chenowth, Hugo Louie. We hope you have an excellent night. We will see you all in 1 week's time. Same bat place, same bat channel. So long.